Next on Cartoon Chat.
Great catch! Oh, amazing play! You'll get him next time.
This is the Animation Conversation Cartoon Chat. I am one of your hosts, Bryan the Baltimorean, joined alongside a person that has been a co-host, but it's been a mighty long time. What's up, man?
Hello, it's good to be back.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Of course, we're going to be talking win or lose, but to tag in here at the Canine Biscuits broadcast studio, it would be amiss to say that there's also a guest that usually is a co-host.
Not comic relief, just serious. This is the Serious Biscuits.
How serious are you planning to be?
How you doing? Just serious.
I'm Joe the Biscuits again! Let's have some humor,
Of course, again, we're talking win or lose here on Cartoon Chat. This is a different situation than we normally go about. And before I actually introduce this, Austin, I want to make sure you get to shout out. Now, this is obviously going to go out in mid-July, as we normally do with every one of our recordings. It goes out middle of the month. So what do you have? You have something big, obviously, coming up in August. Let people know not only where to find you, but obviously what's happening.
Yes, so I have been doing some DJ work for Bass Mode. I am currently, this is going to be a big one, but I will be headlining the Upstairs Auto Bar for our Saturday night rave for Bass Mode. And this is a big deal for me, Bryan, and Mark, primarily because it is like right across the street from like the place where we spent a lot of the time becoming the editors and like video editors and music producers and all of that we came to be. So it's just like one of those coming of age moments where like you are finally living that dream from your high school like plans.
It is crazy, like you said. It's incredible that you get to actually perform at a place where you're so close, literally across the street from a place that Wide Angle Youth Media was so significant for a time. And it's very fun to be able to even just have something like that at an event spot that's right across the street that was booming even back then. Like, it is cool. Like, the vibes.
Yeah, like, I'll tell a little bit about it on my Instagram, like that how when I was at Wild Angle and I would notice when I was discovering what the auto bar was, I noticed that I would sit outside at the bus stop because it was right in front of the auto bar, and whenever I would see like bands and stuff like peek in, like that's when I realized that it was a gig spot. So I couldn't go in there because I was a minor, but whenever I would see people with like guitars and drum sets roll through, I would just like go run and hold the door before them just so I could like peek inside. So like now that like this is going to be my first ever show like attending the Auto Bar, and like not just performing, but like first ever show like at the Auto Bar at all. And for it to not only be something that I'm performing, but for something that I'm headlining too, like that's just a dream come true.
It's legendary, man. It's absolutely legendary. That's why, again, it's awesome to have you because, again, you're not to say the generic line that you're legendary, it's so much that you do, but again, we've been going after certain things in our lives for so long. This moment happening, and obviously we saw you over in Colombia with Bass Mode as well, so obviously just awesome that you're still getting after it, and obviously it's great that you're here as well. Let's get into, obviously, our choice for win or lose. Obviously, I want to ask you first, Austin, as to your reason for wanting to do win or lose, wanting to line in on win or lose. We both talked about it. We both said, hey, man, we got to knock out a win or lose Cartoon Chat. Tell me your reasoning, why you think, man, this thing deserved it.
So I'll get a little deeper into it when it comes to the episode discussion in particular.
Yeah.
But I've really appreciated like the concept of baseball as a medium is very underrated. I've always been a fan of just like coincidentally, I've always like the shows that I kind of draw to most are the ones that are about baseball. So like Big Wind Up was one of my favorites back in the day. That was it was like a slice of life anime about a baseball team, and it's just like like using a sports medium, especially like with shit like Haikyuu, where it's not necessarily about the sport. Everybody is passionate about the sports. It's about the personalities of the individuals playing the sport. And I think that Win or Lose does a really good job at showing artistic representation as to like how people are truly feeling on the inside.
Your thoughts, Mark, on the idea of, obviously you're here as a guest, but your thoughts on Win or Lose in terms of, getting the limelight here on Cartoon Chat. What do you think about Win or Lose?
What first attracted me to the series is like the art style of like what it was doing with the because it's not usual Pixar to be, I guess, like cartoony, like just full just doing a lot of like fun editing or visual tricks. Usually like not even a lot, all of their like stuff is like with the exception of probably some shorts, are like very grounded to reality. Like everything has, every one of their movies rounds around like real world physics, and they're edited like realistic movies. This is the first one where it's doing a lot of like visual cartoony stuff and like a lot of like kind of Scott Pilgrim Spider-Verse-esque editing. So I was very curious, and what I didn't expect was the show to change perspectives. And we're talking about the show as a whole, or just like our introduction to it?
Just a brief thought of our own. Go into whatever direction you want to go in.
Okay, yeah. The like what I didn't expect was this show to like have different perspectives on the same events, and I love that kind of storytelling. Games that do that is like Sonic games. A lot of Sonic games do that, where it's Sonic Adventure. You go through the different perspectives of the same story, or like a movie I really like that does that is The Lion King 1.5. And Hoodwink. I love that. I just love that kind of different points of view of storytelling, and you get like story beats cleared up from like other people's previous perspective. It's like, wait, why was that person there? Well, you find out their perspective, they were there for a reason. I thought the entire show just kind of did that sort of storytelling bit well. And then I like how things came together at the end, and then like when it came like we're going through spoilers, right?
Right, but if you don't have to talk spoilers, because we're going to get into the episode discussions later. But was that your core thought, or do you have any other?
Oh, I just like the ending where it's like I was questioning myself, like, wait, who won? Who lost? And I'm like, oh, win or lose, I get it.
And like to piggyback off of what Mark said, it was definitely interesting for Pixar to turn, like they were basically trying to commit to the movie format but in the show format. So the idea of like all of the different episodes being plot lines that congruently come together really like added to that movie aspect. On top of like, which really shocked me was like Pixar doing 20-minute runs. And I will say that like the animation and like the whole concept of like the cartooniness of it all, we got a lot of that out of Turning Red, which is a movie that a lot of people really slept on.
Yes.
Like, not only was that like the most cartoony, but I would not mind having a Turning Red 2D spin-off series that was just like, that pulls a page out of Steven Universe's notebook where it's like, we are totally not an anime, but we really want to be an anime.
Yeah. I thought Win or Lose, personally, I think what's special about it is, like, number one, like, at this point in time where, again, we're going to get into it a little later, but the Pete Docter sort of creative run that we've had, Win or Lose comes at the end of this really unique run of Pixar pivoting into a new light and direction, and it really masters that. It masters what Pixar's done great for the last, I'd say, several years during his run, which is maximizing the sense and impact of intrapersonal and interpersonal communication, that internalized look within yourself and external view of people around you, and the communication in between that. I love that, again, this is not taking these children's perspectives lightly. Everything is taken seriously, and it has some layering of fun and artistic value because it needs to. That's why it would be made by Pixar. But it's all taken seriously. This is not some generic-ass Disney Channel sitcom. It's taken very seriously, but it has that production value that Pixar is known for. So all of it is excellent. I think it's absolutely amazing. And so that's why I thought, man, like, if there's something that I'd like to sort of focus on when it comes to this era, if we were going to review the era, it's looking at Win or Lose and saying this thing deserves not only a shout out, but a good recognition on Cartoon Chat.
My thing before going into it is like, because after seeing like how many episodes it was, like, why is this a show? What was the point about this being a show? And like, why not just a movie? And like, you see like how, you know, it's one of the few, for me, I feel like it's one of the few like shows that really make good use of an episodic format. It's like, this is why, like, there's a reason it couldn't be a movie.
Right.
To where like, there's a lot of shows on Disney Plus, like definitely a lot of the Marvel shows. It's like, they probably could have shortened this into just like a Disney Plus original movie, like something like you know, Miss Marvel, or like some of the Star Wars projects. It's like, it probably could have really shortened that into a Disney Plus original movie. It didn't really need to be a show. And like this format, because like I want more like from like a lot of these Disney Plus stuff. I like more episodic stuff, only because we don't get it as much like through Disney Plus in terms of production wise from Disney Plus. Because we're just doing like serialized story stuff. But like, yeah, this is I like this whole format and what they did with it.
Very special. Any final thoughts, Austin, before we move into obviously just a little bit of Pixar generally? Then we're going to get into obviously the who and the what, things like that. Any final thoughts, Austin?
So like one mild point about the reason why we don't have a lot of Disney Plus original movies, and that's primarily because Disney likes box office money.
Well, yeah, they do.
Well, I mean,
They were 100%. Hold up, they're 100% willing to risk a box office flop as long as they get box office money, because streaming money isn't entirely where it's at, because pirating is fun.
Well, pirating is gold. I agree.
I wouldn't say it's that, because they'll still release original movies on Disney Plus from time to time.
It's like the one joke that I wanted to make when Bryan was essentially talking about the current renaissance of Pixar, said, I don't think that Elio was a part of that.
That's why I also wanted to, and we're gonna move in, because we're at the end of this Pixar pivot, and Elio caps that in 2025 with this show. I would much rather if Elio came out before this, so that we could say, wow, before we get into the land of sequels and brand new concept. Obviously Hoppers is not following in this format of human-centric storytelling. We're now going to be getting into more mascot driven stuff again, Gato and Hoppers. But this era here, like under the Pete Docter era, has been really different, I think, or uniquely a segment of Pixar that makes them stand out more than they did even during their sort of silver age. So if you guys obviously didn't know, most of you guys know this, but just a heads up, Pete Docter was the director of Monsters, Inc. He was the writer-director of Up and Inside Out and Soul, and he became chief creative officer of Pixar in 2018. So he's been the one that that's stewarded a lot of this original concept of what I would say is focusing on human characters and looking more internally, like we talked about in the previous attempt recording, Austin, the Pixar Declassified Life Survival Guide. That's what I like to call this fragment, where you get obviously Turning Red and Soul and Elemental. Obviously Inside Out 2 just as equally. That was his thing. And, one of the other sections and successes of this era has been that Docter has done a really good job of moving the leadership roles into people that were at Pixar for a while and are just getting their step. So, like, for instance, Win or Lose comes from a team that didn't really get a chance to direct and lead before, but here they are. Inside Out 2, same thing. Like, you're getting these people that were either in the art department or were not front and center like you had during the golden age and silver age of Pixar, where it was always the same teams. Go ahead.
Mildly off topic, but like similarly relevant to like giving the little guy a chance.
Yeah.
Let's go back to like my most controversial opinion during the Summer Games thing is just like that the FGC community won the what we used to know as the E3 era this year, and that's just because like the idea that Marvel gave Arc System Works, which has always been a small time company, this chance to shine, where they wanted them to make a game and then when Arc System Works asked did they have any ideas in mind, they said no, don't you do it. We like what Arc Systems does. Put the Arc Systems flair onto Marvel. Like that's what we want. And this is essentially the same thing where you give the little guy the opportunity to shine and they're going to make sure that you call them again.
Yes.
Like that's the energy that this modern day era of the Pixar Renaissance is that like Pixar has always been a fan of like teaching us narratives and teaching us morals and like telling us stories and and giving us things to learn from. Like they've been trying to radicalize us since a fucking Bug's Life. And it's just like clear that Pixar is consistent in their message and their change. And like I'll go even further into that when I talk about the episode that I'm showcasing. But yeah.
Understandable. Any notes on before we move off of this briefly, what's everyone's favorite movie in this Pete Docter era? Obviously, Mark, your favorite was Lightyear. You loved it. You thought it was the best movie out of this set. And Elio. You said Elio was your favorite too. So
Not just Lightyear.
But go ahead.
Yeah, Lightyear. I thought it was
We can smell your bullshit from a mile away. What?
I don't know, it was definitely easily Soul. Soul was just like a masterpiece of a movie, and it's like it has like a good perspective on life, where it's like a lot of movies where it's just about follow your goals, and like this movie's like, hey, sometimes you just end up where you end up, and like you can find happiness in that. Just enjoy life.
Right.
And like that's a very powerful message.
Glorious message, absolutely. Austin?
I think I wholeheartedly, like, as a musician, relate to that message as well. Because sometimes, like for the longest time, I kept on saying that, like, I'm going to be the next Skrillex. I'm going to be touring at EDC and go to Coachella, and I'm going to, like, meet Skrillex and do a song together and all that stuff. But then it's just, like, I came to the realization that the more that I focused on trying to be famous, I wasn't really focusing on the music as well. Like, I wasn't really putting the work and passion in it, and there was no love. And no pun intended, but there was no soul. So it was just like...
I don't get it.
It was the fact that I figured out why I was doing this and figured out why I really enjoyed doing this. And whether I make it, quote unquote, like whatever the idea of making it is these days, whether I make it or not, I just still love this regardless.
Absolutely. So would you say that Soul is your favorite out of this set too?
I wouldn't say it's my favorite out of the set primarily because I haven't watched it, but
Alright, we'll be back. Folks, we'll be right back after Austin watches Soul.
Yep, we're gonna let him 2 hours to watch Soul. Yeah. What's your favorite right
I will
now?
say that my personal favorite is Turning Red. I feel like, again, the idea that when Pixar wants to do something cartoony or goofy or silly, and the idea of breaking generational curses, and the way that they decided to do that. And yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Enter, there were no references to 9/11, but they truly encapsulated what it felt like to be a 13-year-old in that time frame. And yeah, like the other thing about Turning Red is that a lot of people surprisingly compare it to Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it pretty much has the same like concept about generational curses, and they both include Sandra Oh.
Yeah, I thought Turning Red was I think Turning Red reminds you that a lot of people and a lot of critics forget what they're like when they're younger, and they clearly just cannot mentally get out of the perception of where they are, because I easily attach to mentally thinking about this character. I thought that one of the things that was so great about Turning Red was how well built the characters are. Like, these are actually people. These aren't cardboard cutouts. And I thought that was one of the many things that made Turning Red so phenomenal.
I think ours were also like time period wise and location. For Turning Red, this movie is happening across the street from Scott Pilgrim.
Pretty much.
Because it's Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the era it takes place in, so it's like
it's
across the street from Scott Pilgrim.
Perfect.
All these events are happening.
It all makes sense.
Let's just hope Scott doesn't try to date her instead of Knives.
Yeah, let's, yeah.
I mean, both are equally as bad, but let's hope not.
Yeah. I think, personally, Elemental, for me, I think the thing that this era of movies has had to face as well was perfectly encapsulated with what Elemental had to face, which is not only the Disney Plus debut status that it had for a number of years leading up to it, but just poor marketing. Like we've talked, like people have brought that up for Elio, even though Elio did get marketed. But in fact, I think it's the first film in this set that actually got well marketed compared to the other movies that didn't get well marketed or were just put on Disney Plus. But I think it's the underdog story that Elemental had to face going in, and then afterward coming out golden because of just alone, no cameos, no MCU big reveal. It was just word of mouth. It was that everyone that watched it thought, holy shit, you've got to watch it too. This is special. This is phenomenal. It has this amazing story, and it grows this romance, and like you said, it relates back to that generational trauma and expectation that Turning Red had, but I liked how it was portrayed in this film as well. I thought there's so much about Elemental that's so well done, and I was absolutely impressed with the like they talked about during this film's production, how difficult it was to animate these two different characters through fire and water, and then the moment that they're actually finding their love or finding themselves together, the sort of tension and difficulty of getting to work things out together, it felt as messy as actual romance can be. So I thought it was so well done as a story.
When we first started thinking about streaming, we wanted to do something that's new and innovative for us. The exciting thing was we had no idea what to expect.
Is that a D23 image?
That is a D23 image there. So, the crew was this. So this was created, directed, and written by the duo of Kerry Hobson and Michael Yates. And then again, this revolves back to this initiative of Pixar in bringing people up. Both of these duos, it's like you had a storyboard artist and an art intern background designer, right? Like Kerry Hobson was an art intern on Toy Story of Terror, a story artist on Toy Story 4 and Elemental. She actually was a background designer on 8 episodes of Powerpuff Girls. Michael Yates, the newer Powerpuff Girls, by the way. Michael Yates was a storyboard artist on Cars 3, Toy Story 4, which is where, by the way, they both worked together. He actually did storyboard art on an episode of Craig of the Creek, and was story artist on Soul. Like, so these two just got a chance.
Oh, that fucking tracks. That tracks.
Well, one episode. But it does make sense.
Like,
if you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, if you like that type of like diversity amongst kids, not even like the diversity in like politics, but more so like just the diversity in personalities. Yes. Like, Craig of the Creek is very, very good for that. So like having somebody on the Craig of the Creek team on this, like, that fucking tracks.
1,000%. Yeah, because Craig of the Creek, I think what it nails is, again, it goes back to that sense of all these kids are so different. You know, and yeah, and it's slice of life, it's adventurous, but they're also different. Like, that does a great job of that, you know. Yeah. I'd seen online that, brief aside, I'd seen online that, you know, people were wondering, why do people dislike the newer Cartoon Network era of like 2017 to like 2020? And it's not that people hate it, it's that, again, like we talked about back then, it was Go was the only thing that was on, really. Everything else got overshadowed. No one really hates that. Now, there are people that like the 90s stuff and they'll never get off that, but no one necessarily hates that era. It's specifically what the network was doing at that point. overshadowing all of the original content. I just want to keep that clear. Because Crook of the Creek was fucking awesome. We Brit Bears was legendary. Like you had a great lineup of shows. Infinity Train, like you had a great lineup of shows that were actually doing good original stuff that were just kind of overshadowed by one or two shows during that run.
Just
I
don't
definitely
think
say like writing and humor wise, a lot of these shows are like very different than like the cartoon shows are from the back in time.
Right.
So like they have all of them have like a completely different.
It was that
What'd you say, Austin?
It was just a matter of like the commodity of it. It was like, for some reason in that era of Cartoon Network, it wasn't just about how good the show was doing. It was about like, okay, the show is doing good, but is it selling toys? Is it like catering to the audience? Is it putting money in our pockets or anything like that? So it was just like, because Go was, in their opinion, the most overall successful because they shoved it in our fucking faces, the other shows didn't really give that light of day. It was like, and like people want to talk about Infinity Train getting the Zaslav treatment. Hell no, this was way before Zaslav. I was one of the few people that woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch the premiere of the Infinity Train pilot on TV. How shitty of you to premiere a pilot at 6 in the morning. Like,
wild. That was not Zaslav. That was just that was a shit.
That was the Christine Miller era.
Yes. Yeah, I like this idea again. It's everything's getting like hindsighted. Everyone's kind of forgetting that there are segments to this shit. Like you don't know Zaslav.
It's not Cartoon Network with same company. They always been treating Final Space like piss.
Well, Final Space. No, don't get Final Space. That was they pushed it to TBS, even though it should have been on Adult Swim, and then once they started moving everything to Max, they said "fuck you," and that whole thing was absolutely horrific because that was a great show. That was great show. Balanced comedy with seriousness very well. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving here. In terms of any other directors here, you had Trevor Jimenez directed episode 6 or co-directed episode 6. You had Lou Halaji who directed episode 8. Again, alongside the two previous that I mentioned. There's music. In terms of music, there were songs by the group Campfire. Lead orchestrator was Stephen Coleman. Music editor Rachel Bigelow. And again, shout out to this entire art, animation, visual effects, and sound team. I think you guys did an absolutely phenomenal job here. And obviously, we're going to get into the cast, more of the Who. You'll see in the future, I will in post put the cast actually on screen where you have the display. Rosie Foss as Lori, she is the coach's daughter. Isaac Wang as Ewan, that is the pitcher. Milan Ray as, Milan Ray as Rochelle, obviously daughter of Rosa. Chanel Stewart as Kai. Kaylee Curran as Taylor. Tom Law as, Tom. Will Forte was Coach Dan, the dad. Josh Thompson as Frank Brown. Rosa Salazar was Vanessa. Dorian Watson, Ira. And Flula Borg was the iconic school custodian. Now, Win or Lose Itself, very simple. The two, Kerry Hobson, Michael Yates, they were working on Toy Story 4. The two naturally realized that, again, like as we all do, they had perceived things differently, and that was like the start of a branch of what became this series. In fact, Yates, in an interview that I'll get into a little after this, actually discusses a little bit deeper his perceptions of what the show started from. So he says, like, quote, the show came from this thing of like, you can never really experience the world from someone else's point of view. And so we took that idea and thought, okay, how do you visualize what a point of view is like? How do you visualize how someone feels about something? And then that kind of brought out all these fantastical elements to the show. Obviously they took that and they snowballed it. When it comes to the animation and the character design, in a 2023 interview with Ryan Garr from the animation website Squiggly, Hobson and Yates, along with producer David Lowley, said, quote, this was Hobson, there's been so many years, and this is, Mark, what you mentioned earlier about how this changed. There's been so many years of very realistic animation and a lot of mastery around that. But for us specifically, what we were really excited about was how we can caricature life in a very authentic way. Not just being cartoony for cartoony's sake, but we started calling it caricatured sincerity. That bled all the way from the character design to the design of the world to the animation. Yates followed up by saying we'd show sketches and drawings from storyboards and also just talk about who they are as people and try to find the specificity with how they move, how they would carry a cup, how they would eat, how they would drink, anything we could get to be as specific as possible. And then, once you have that groundwork for everything, that's when they add the fun layer to it. It is very pushed and cartoony, but it's also very specific. It all goes back to that caricatured sincerity. We wanted to push it to that button point where you're like, oh yeah, I know that person. And again, like, getting into all that, I know that took a while, but you can clearly see that all in the series. You can see that detail and refinement all there. Like, it's pure and perfect. A sneak peek for the series that was given in late 2021, and at that time the series had been scheduled for release in November of 2023. Again, this thing's been bumped around.
I remember seeing like a poster of this series during when it's announced like years ago.
Yeah,
and it's just like we haven't been hearing.
I think we all know exactly what caused this show to have pushback.
Absolutely. After a few more delays,
into that in the Excel segment.
Yes, after a few more delays, it slid to February 2025.
I know we're not going to get into it, but like, was that? Do you think that was just it?
Yes. So the series faced heavy crosswinds, deciding to remove core aspects to Kai and rework the entire portion of that storyline. Kai is the transgender character in the story, and we lost a large point of her respective episode. Again, it's another reminder of that megacorp energy that Disney always gives to anything that kind of has a little bit here and there. I will say devil's advocate, and I hate doing it. I don't like being devil's advocate. In fact, I rarely am. This was at a point where you had Strange World, which is a dog shit movie, and this was a heavy point in which a lot of conservative families were piling on the idea that anything that Disney put out, they were not going to go see. This was very loud, it was very bombastic, and that was exactly the time when Win or Lose got delayed into 2025. So if we're looking at where things correlate in terms of this thing being pushed from 2023 to 2025, like, you're right there. So, again, we're going to go through every single one of these episodes. That's kind of how we're going to run into this. Usually we only focus on 3 or 4, but again, there's a lot of highlights that we can run through in Win or Lose just because of how special it is. We're about to get into episode 7, which is where this but the major point of contention was for Pixar in their production of the series. In general, I'll give a summary. This episode fragments into 3 time points: the year leading up to, the week of, and the day of the championship, following Kai, who's voiced by Chanel Stewart. Go ahead and tell us, Austin, your thoughts on episode 7. I got it.
So, before we get into the episode, right, I want to talk about a show that I recommended that you watched before we discuss this episode, that being A League of Their Own. A big portion, like, there are 2 reasons that I wanted to bring this show to Bryan's attention. And that was not only because it was another example of baseball just overall being a really good medium, but also the fact that, like, they added queerness into this aspect as well. Not, like, especially from the time frame that it was posted in. And, like, it's a lot different from the A League of Their Own, the original film, but it's pretty much the concept of, like, the Peaches and the whole story, and then they add the whole concept of Max, who is the primary character that I want to speak on, and how in a connected universe, if these universes were connected, Max would have walked so Kai could fly. And that is absolutely a pun on the idea of Kai floating throughout this episode. And it's just because Max is somebody who absolutely wanted to play baseball, but she also had to deal with, not only did she have to deal with segregation, she also had to deal with being a woman, right?
Right.
So, like, being a woman in that time frame and like not really being able to have a shine. But then on the other side of the coin of Max's journey is that Max is figuring out her own queerness, is figuring out that she wants to be more masculine representing. And granted, it's the opposite of Kai's transition. It was the idea that that there were queer people in the baseball league, and we don't really hear about that. There were the idea that that boomers will always say that, oh, like all of this they, them, and transgender stuff, that's just all brand new stuff. Like, no. And A League of Their Own is clearly showing that these trans people and queer people have been around for a very, very long time. But they just had to go into hiding because they knew that their existence was a threat. So fast forward to the time frame of Win or Lose, and Kai is one of those people that finally gets that opportunity to play in a league where she can be herself. And the thing about that episode that granted, it wasn't Pixar, it was Disney. It was that Disney's censorship made the storyline much more beautiful than they thought it would be, and made the transness a lot more obvious than it already was. Because they need, it's the idea that we need to trust that kids understand the concepts of metaphors and similes and analogies for what actual things are. Because that's where we allow the parents to have those discussions, right?
Absolutely. That's
so.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it was just like you can notice frame by frame all of the very subtle censorships, and I'm gonna break a couple of those down. So. Literally, the opening scene, we see Kai scratching her baseball mitt, right? And that is essentially her scratching her dead name off of that mitt. Even the way that Kai is, when the dad calls Kai while she's sitting in the back of the car, it doesn't really sound like it's supposed to be there. Sorry,
because in that moment there, it's you're right, because that's one of the things where, like you said, you have to not just look a little deeper, but in its portrayal, you're looking at that moment, and it's not just, and again, that's what I think the Pixar structure is. Again, you go through a typical thing, you make it a little relatable, and then they usually layer it with something else. This, for instance, the backseat of the car is incredibly relatable. You got an adult, you don't want to be alongside, you're staring, you're doing whatever, you're thinking about something entirely different. The adult in the front of the car is doing something that's encompassing literally your entire thought process. You can't even think to yourself because this guy's loud and obnoxious, and it's singing along to something. It's that's a very relatable situation.
Yeah, and the next thing that we're gonna get into is when she finally gets to the grandma's house, where this is where a lot of it is shown. But even before that, Pixar doing a lot of cinematic shit is where everything seems all cloudy and gray, but then when she's driving into town and she sees the Pickles practicing, that's where that's the only spot that's full of light, and it's giving her that sense of hope. Yes. So then we get into the grandma's place, and so the part where before they get into the house where she's you've gotten so big, did you notice something that I noticed?
What do you got?
Oh, yes, you didn't.
I was is there a delay? What the fuck?
So it depends, because there's a number of things. You have, of course, it's a quiet spot. Because it's a homely spot. But what caught your eye that didn't catch mine? Because I just want to know for context. I want to know if I did or didn't.
Yeah, because I'm gonna break down this whole scene, mind you.
Okay.
The entire scene. So. When she says you've gotten so big, you can really notice that the lip movements don't match. And it's the fact that when she backed up like that, she felt kind of uncomfortable. And more than likely that was because the grandma said her dead name. Yeah.
I see.
That's the parts those are the parts that I'm breaking down. And then when you see like the scene where like she's showing all of the pictures of Kai when she was younger. You can see that like
yeah,
you can visibly see that Disney was attempting to edit or change things to make Kai look more feminine, because that was the whole thing. Is like where Pixar didn't say shit, Disney was the ones that stepped in and said, "Oh yeah, Kai is cisgender." Hell the fuck no, she's not.
right.
So like, it's really weird that they just tried to put earrings and lipstick on this fucking 5-year-old, you know. So like,
it's
like more
inspection, yeah.
Yeah, so like more of Kai like removing those pictures off the wall because she's not very like proud of that, like proud of herself. And then we get into the room, and then she, like that whole scene of like just the whole image of her wearing a black hoodie and then looking into the mirror and then just like hiding her face. One thing that my roommate pointed out is that is 100% a representation of gender dysphoria.
I thought it was more just because I thought that her using her hoodie, I thought was discomfort with the world around her, whether just being comfortable with yourself, let alone if you whatever the identity that you feel. I thought it was just the idea of just discomfort with, you know, new setting, because it's very, what they've done with it, I think, is like you said, they've done a lot of tweaking and adjusting here, but you know, you could see this through, okay, like especially as the episode proceeds with, you know, her hair, and as things, you know, expand beyond that, and like we are going to talk about the floating nature of that episode and how they present that. I thought the hoodie, though, I thought became more of a safety net in moments where she was uncomfortable in the beginning there.
Because she's not comfortable in her own body.
Right.
Yes.
But I thought it was relatable I agree. I was just saying that it's relatable in a variety of, that's what I think is magical about this episode is you can relate you can relate in like 70, not in like so many different ways, whether it's because you are anorexic or you're uncomfortable with weight or you're uncomfortable with how you see yourself, or you know, any of those perceptions. You know,
the beauty is that Pixar tried to make it as conspicuous as possible because I felt like they were preparing for the fact that Disney was going to do something. And then like again, like then we cut to the baseball field scene where like she's clearly like she feels like herself. There's a lot of light, and then like that's the moment where she finally takes her hoodie off, where she finally reveals herself as Kai. I felt like again, when you take into consideration the moments of like her scratching her dead name off, that was her announcing to the world that my name is Kai now.
Yes.
You know? And
but not just that, having
like
that
again, more of the cinematic subtlety is whenever she's floating, do you always notice what colors are like representing themselves in the background of the shining light?
When we talked about this earlier, I did not. I was totally I was more impressed with the concept, and I didn't even pay attention to the colors that were utilized. Go ahead.
Yeah, pink, white, and blue. France flag.
Right.
You know, it was, and then like it's just like the whole scene of where like the dad is just like saying, "But you were so good at baseball." Another reason as to why I wanted to implement A League of Their Own into this is because that was Max's struggle. It was the fact that like her mom was concerned about her liking quote unquote boy things, you know, and that she was going to turn into what was called like what they were called back in the day. They called them inverts, you know.
Right.
And
we even
talked the idea
that carries on both sides. Like I remember we were talking with Martin or during the Powerpuff Girls episode where we talked about the movie, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't even." He was like, "Yeah," like because he was talking nostalgically, like you couldn't even say, "Hey, could I go see the Powerpuff Girls movie in his household?" Because the perception was, "No, you can't do that." Because what do you get? Like it was this such a disgusting concept of time. That's one of the things that I also think people don't recognize when they say I want to go back to the 90s is sure there was some stuff you might like in the 90s like cassette tapes and all that, but there's
like
a whole lot of shit.
came out, if the Powerpuff Girls came out today, him would be a fucking problem.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like, but the point I'm trying to make is that, like, when he asked her, like, when he told her, like, but you were so good at baseball, it was just, like, that whole concept of that, like that's a conversation that a lot of, kids have with their parents when they're coming out, is that, like, you can't be trans, you can't be wanting to be a girl, you like all of these boy things, you know? Or, like, try to force them into boy hobbies to make, like, to basically, like, push the gay, like, knock the gay away or whatever the fuck. But, like, the thing is, like, the funnest thing about my roommate is that their girlfriend fucks me up in every other fighting game that I play.
That's awesome.
I gotta work when I fight with them. So it's just like transness doesn't have like a set of guidelines that if you want to be a girl, if you want to be a boy, you have to like these girl and or boy things. Transness is just a matter of your personal identity and how you feel on the inside and who you really are. You know, it has nothing to do with the things that you enjoy.
Right. And you brought up earlier Kai's dad, and it's like, I understand there's so much hate for Kai's dad, and I understand that, but like we talked about in an earlier call, not just the failed recording that we had, but even before that, you'd mentioned, hey, the slice of life story that we have, its characters, like, as we find them in the moment that they're in. Which is one of the things I do like about this story, is not all the time do we find that there's this great happy ending. Like he is legitimately a realistic interpretation of a pressurizing parent with a ton of expectation. Like, he puts a ton on Kai, and the same way that Vanessa puts a ton on Rochelle. Like, I think he's blind.
I didn't hate Kai's dad.
Yeah, he's super blind to this generational weight that he's like sinking into her, and then simultaneously he's using her as a vessel to stay into the sport, right? Like, it's at its core, that's what he's doing. He's like, yeah, come on, it's like it's a genuine it's a
because I didn't hate Kai's dad because I understood the assignment. You know,
right?
Like, I understood the assignment, so it's just like, first off, he accepted his daughter for who she was. That was the first thing that he said, like, this is a lot, but nothing is ever going to change the fact that I love you. Like, that was the moment that, like, made me start tearing up, because because to give you an example, I didn't know that Disney censored this episode until after I watched the show. Right?
Right.
So, like, I already started tearing up because I understood the message. I understood the analogy. I understood that this was 100% a girl talking about her transition to her parent.
Yeah.
Like, this can't be, like, there is no way that the idea of wanting to transition from baseball to softball is going to have this much weight on a kid.
But it could. That's the other thing, is because this has been so tailored and censored a bit in that way, it could be, because there are families out there that are that, like, you're talking about, like, trying to imagine, like, a family where a kid wants to do flag football instead of real football. It's like, what are you talking about? We're putting all this money into flag football instead of real football? You should be a real football. Like, yeah, that's still out there. Like, even if that's not the correlation, that's the thing that's so amazing, is they still were able to tether together a story that can be broad-reaching while concisely still discussing what they wanted to at its core. And I think, again, that's what's fantastic. I do want to mention...
The thing that I enjoy,
go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
Like, the thing that I enjoy is that, again, a lot of it is very open-ended. And, like, when it comes to, like, the whole concept of the transness is, do you know about... Like, I told you a little bit about the scrap scene in the original podcast, and it was the one that, like, I had mild issues with. And it was like, there was a whole entire... You can find the storyboard of Kai just kind of looking at what bathroom that she wanted to go into.
Right.
And what... Like, again, it's the whole thing of how Disney censorship made the story more beautiful, because, like, those are the scenes that kind of, like, turned the character into a token trans character.
Right.
That turned them into a character that seems like they're only here to fill a diversity quota.
Right.
And, again, like, the beauty of keeping it open-ended and, like, keeping it very conspicuous is that, like, the fact that like I already started welling up at the scene, you know,
Exactly.
and it was just like the significance of like when you take that scrap scene into consideration, the episode, like the scene in the episode where Kai is invited to an all-girl slumpy party speaks volumes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I thought what was beautiful is, again, you got to see those just moments. It was a montage, but you got to see those moments where you see her happy and like that, or increasingly happy, or just happy in general, like that moment, you know. And I thought that's
like
beautiful.
when you like when you're writing a trans character, you don't just want, and like you do want to focus on their transness when they are being like scrutinized or being treated poorly, but you don't want to make their character solely about their transness. You still want to know who they are, and I felt like Pixar did a really good job at portraying who Kai actually is as a person, and going through her struggle of like her dad utilizing baseball as a means to control her, because like that is where the open-ended anybody can relate to shit comes in.
Exactly.
Because like the overly competitive sport parent, like the parent that just like they kind of treat you like a coach more than they teach you like a dad.
1,000%. And it's like there's so many moments where you can just kind of like that core point, like you can see many moments, like you see number one, like, and it's done artistically, but like there's the section with the ankle, and not section, there's the ankle, and like you said, the weightlessness and the heaviness. When you're talking about like, you know, just how damaging some of the words you say and how you parent and how you command and all of that can affect someone. Like when there's so many moments where she's floating, the sky's the limit, and her father may not realize it, but he's bringing her down. He brings down that energy. He brings down that energy significantly, like so often. And then again, like toward the ankle situation, like
into the ground.
And
I got like during the championship moment, it was just like that side moment where like she's like looking at her dad and then looking at the crowd, like looking at her team, and it's just like really like questioning who is she really doing this for?
Yes,
you know, it's like the fact that she's like slowly trying to empathize with you and Taylor's situation, but she still has to figure out how to make this team get back on track. So it was just like that double standard. So like where she didn't really know what to do, but she felt like she had to do what was necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought, you know, there are little moments again, like around the ankle injury, where it's like she's training with Lauren right before obviously she gets the ankle injury there, but it's like you can see that aggressive coaching style of her dad and how what he's not just the coaching, but what it's supposed to mean as well. You can see it through how she's she's coaching Lauren there. Like she says like things like, don't be a burden, or you have to be better. It tells you how she's feeling about her place in all this. Like it really does in that little moment. And again, just the design and the momentary energy shifts when Kai is affected by her ankle are brilliant. Like just that electric shock is, or I should say, it's not even electric shock. It's like a scratch. It's a scribble. It's it's very well done.
Also, like one scene that like I do feel like it was just like one of the moment of gaslighting, you know, like from the dads apart.
Yeah.
Is that like first off, you were more concerned about your daughter cheating on a test than her getting hit in the face with a baseball.
Yeah, wild.
And then like it was just like the more of like that whole a parent utilizing a kid's identity to make them feel guilty. Is that like that whole speech that he gave her about like how like when you screw up like that, you don't just represent yourself, you represent your community, you represent everybody that represents you. Like that was just like when you take into consideration that Kai is trans, that just kind of made the entire situation a lot more shitty. It's the same thing.
It does, but simultaneously relates back to heavy, super constricting parent saying that about the responsibility. Because I got that speech before myself, but just in terms of family name and all that expectation BS, it's like, that's like for the dual thread.
For us, as lack of a better term, niggas, It's like it goes all the way back into like the concept of respectability politics, the idea that you need to act and be a certain way to appease to the world and for the world to respect you. Right. And like that is a very like harsh image to put on a kid, especially over something as small as cheating on a test.
Well, especially at a time when you're talking middle school, when any kid is figuring themselves out at that point. Like, you know, that's a tough thing to layer there. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought, but in general, I thought again there's so many things about this episode that they had to, I'd say, step around due to Disney. But then, like you said, the final product is a phenomenal episode that is amazing.
It goes back to the idea that, like, the one thing that I kept saying in the first recording was that, like, Disney can do whatever they want, but they can't fuck with Pixar. Like, it's the idea that, like, people think that, like, these shows are indoctrinating our youth, but, like, A Bug's Life was literally teaching us about the dangers of capitalism when all of us were in fucking diapers. Like, Pixar has been trying to teach and radicalize the youth for a very long time. You're just now figuring it out.
Yeah, they radicalized me into. What did you say? You said you loved Ratatouille, right? Just because as a cook, like, it's like this did such an incredible job.
Like, Ratatouille came out at the perfect time frame for me, and it's just like the beauty of the message of not everyone can cook. However, true art can come from anywhere. You know, not everybody got that talent in them, but like when you figure out the talent that you have, it doesn't matter where you come from. You know. Like, it's the fact that Ratatouille, like Ratatouille is essentially the nigga that grew up in the trenches and then decided to work in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen.
You know it.
He started off as a rat. He realized that he had a skill. He had a really good nose, and he realized that he had a knack for blending flavors, and he was going to do anything and everything that he possibly could to get his dream because he knew that he was worth it.
Right. Yeah. They've been killing it again. I mean, the reason why Walt Disney Animation Studios even exists is because Pixar was like, hey, we need at least both. You can't just have just us here. You got to keep Disney around as well. Regular.
So I love that Pixar did what they could to make sure that, like, no matter how much Disney tried to censor it, the idea that this storyline could be about transness was still very prevalent.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to episode 3, episode 4, Raspberry and Pickle. This follows the mother-daughter duo of Vanessa and Rochelle. I thought this is you could do this for any of the characters. Obviously, we get that with the coach and Lauren, but getting the visual of both lenses here, I thought was fantastic and is something that could be utilized and is worth watching from anyone. That's why this series, I think, anyone should watch this. This is a series that I think anyone should be able to watch and just look at and get whatever perception they get out of it. But it's something that deserves to be watched because, you know, again, this is an angle and a window that, however it was presented before through whatever books or whatever storylines, you don't get many examples of storytelling like this, of this situation being told so well. And getting that understanding and, you know, get a little bit of empathy out of it. Let's talk Rochelle's lens in Raspberry. You know, I thought seeing the world from her lens, she sees, you know, that she sees that she's carrying a large slice of the household. She's carrying so much. She thinks that she's keeping, and she is. She's keeping her mom on track, and she's helping with the younger sibling. It's that weight and all of that, but you don't get the window of the other side until the follow-up episode of Pickle. What did you think about Raspberry, Austin?
So with Raspberry, right, this was a peak representation of adultification of children. Like, the idea that somebody as young as Rochelle has to take on all of these responsibilities. And it's one thing to help around the house and help with the baby brother, but it's another thing that Rochelle is literally raising her own money to play next season.
Yes.
Like, that is, like, admittedly, like, it's played off like that it's not a problem, but when you take into consideration that this is a 12-year-old, like, that's just sad.
It is.
You know? And, granted, like at first glance, we assume that it's because like not that that Vanessa is a bad mom, but she's just very oblivious. We just don't really, Rochelle doesn't really get the opportunity to speak on these things because Vanessa is always in her own little world, you know? But it's nice that we get to see the other side of the coin later on. But it's just like the imagery of Rochelle, like, turning herself into this, like, adult businesswoman whenever she's standing on business. And, like, how, like, whenever she does try to, like, take initiative in, like, her mother's decisions, especially, like, that scene where all of us have gotten shit, where we called our parents by their first names, where, like, that entire persona just shut itself down immediately.
Yes.
And, like, the beautiful imagery of, like, when, like, the imagery of, like, one, the fact that Rochelle has to, like, basically attend all of the parents' meetings and relay all the information back to Vanessa. And when she hears that the money for baseball is going up, she, like, it's the representation of her world falling apart.
Yes.
Quite literally.
Absolutely.
Like, it's, again, like, each episode does that really, really well. When they want to take the idea of, the personification of somebody's stress or anxiety, they do it so well, you know? And, like, the progression of that concept of the world falling apart or distorting, it gets into some A24 shit, if you ask me. Like,
oh, yeah, especially the second half, I mean, 1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, yeah, like, one of the things that's so great about this episode is, again, A+ on, this is, I've said this 1,000 times since I was a kid. I didn't like any of the Disney Channel sitcoms because they were all, in many ways, you'd have a moment where it's like, here's a real world situation and now we're going to take it serious. But for the most part, it's like, ha ha, oh yeah, this isn't serious. It's like, look, like, yeah, these are realistic situations. Here's a slice of a life that's in a real fucking situation, and it's tough. And it fucking, like, it sucks, but what I love is, again, like Rochelle's making the most out of it. And what I love so much is, because I see this in, at times, not that my sister has this amount of pressure on her, but she takes this, not my sister, but Rochelle, she takes this studious and attentive and confident and super respectful part of herself and puts it into so much of what she does because of the weight of what she has to do. So, you know, like, she has to put this into a service-centric environment very early. Like, she gets the cues from it, and she gets it super early. She wakes up, she does this at the shop there, at the snack shack. She's there at school, and she's sort of putting this on even before she's doing the adult boss persona, the money-making persona there, like Richie Rich is what I would imagine when she was cheating and making money. She still has to utilize that, and, you know, you see that having her have to take on this responsibility shapes who she is, and we know so many people in our lives that we see where, oh, you had to take on these tasks early, and this affected you in whatever way that you see as that person is, but they had to take on that stress and that responsibility very early, and it's shaped her in that way. And on the field, by the way, she's maximizing those same characteristics at playing catcher, which catcher requires that focus that she's used in the entire time. You see her at the store, she catches that teenager. It's like, hey bitch, I saw you, put that shit back. As a catcher, hey, this person is tough. Back up. Like, I understand what's about to happen here. She's aware, she's on it, she's got it. She's like, I love Rochelle as a character because you built so much up here. And when, like you said, things get out of step and kind of start to sway in her ability to do all of these things, it sucks because she's just trying to manage. That's all she's trying to do because she has to. Because unfortunately, that's where she's at, as you know, in the household that she's at.
Yeah, because like she does a lot for herself. Like, she does a lot for herself. Like the fact that she is really good at her sport, she loves her sport, and she's a straight A student. It was just like the fact, like that now that she's in that moment of pressure, and it was just like, again, that whole thing of where she thinks that because she's so responsible that she's an adult now, she can do not necessarily do whatever she wants, but more so do things that she deems as necessary for her livelihood. It's a problem, you know.
Yes.
Like again, the idea of raising money by yourself to play baseball. Like you've all seen the generic plot line of like, oh, a kid gets to raise money for a new bike, and like maybe it's like 30, 40, or $50, but then it goes from $600 to $1,600. And she's doing that alone.
Right.
Like she's doing that alone. You know, and the fact that like she felt that she needed to sell her shoes, because like trust and believe, we definitely spent our parents' money when we should have a couple of times in places that money that was trusted to us to be spent in a different scenario. Like we've all done it. Like
inevitably.
But
inevitably.
It's the fact that like she, like the moment that she actually did try to make an adult decision by herself, she realized that shit was real.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And like it was the fact that like they were so like, first off, these niggas are fucking bums. Like the Bleacher Creatures, these niggas are bums that they were willing to chase down a child for keys.
Yes.
Just so they could get snacks from a convenience stand.
Yep.
A concession stand. Like, these niggas are bums.
Yeah, it's wild.
Because even then, like, that entire scene was just so intense, too.
It was, but I love how you're talking about episode 10 or 9. I mean 8, where everything full circles, right?
No, when the scene where she's getting chased down by the dude in the chicken suit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Shit was yeah, that was like Jesus Christ.
Like that shit was like genuinely scary.
Like you said, 824, because it's like you don't know what you don't know, but you're also in a dark place. You're far away from where you need to be. You're now being chased by this thing, this person, and you're just fucked. You're just potentially fucked. You're like it's yeah. Yeah. Like
actually funny story with this episode is I watched the first 2 episodes of Win or Lose, and then I took a break, and then when I came back, I thought the next episode, because I guess Disney Plus just accidentally put the next episode as the who's the kid's name?
Well, Rochelle is 3. Raspberry is 3. You had it.
Raspberry?
Yeah.
Raspberry.
No, her name is Rochelle, but episode 3 was, so you had it right, because you did episode 1, episode 2. You did it still in order.
Oh wait, shit, never mind, I missed one.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Go ahead. You said what?
Oh, no, I thought it was.
If you did see that episode, then you were out watching chronologically.
Okay, never mind.
Good,
I thought for some reason.
Yeah. I was gonna say Mark joins us, by the way. He's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Episode 2 is the one with the teacher. Episode 3 and 4 are with Rochelle and Vanessa.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the episodes in exact order. How we started with episode 7.
Start with 7. We're going kind of like George Lucas. We're like George Lucas. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. It's
okay,
all,
yeah. Keep going. Never mind.
Yeah, but you didn't have any thoughts on episode?
I have thoughts on Pickle.
Okay. We're about to move on to Pickle because again, like you said, Austin, this whole thing of like where she's lost complete control of this, of just being able to manage anything, like just out of it, and then she's at the payphone. Go. What did you say?
She made that. I was about to say at the payphone, like she made that was decision that like.
That was I mean, you feel everything. Like, just, holy shit. Like, just all of it compressing on her at that moment. Loneliness, all of it. Just all there at that payphone. You know? Like, jeez.
Yeah, it's just like that moment where it's just like, damn, shit's fucked. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, no matter what and no matter who you are, you can always rely on your mama.
I forgot my phone thing was on.
Are you watching? Mark, what are you doing?
I was trying to look up something.
Okay, so don't pull up Disney Plus and then say you're looking at something. Don't try to breeze through Win or Lose.
If I could phone stitched on me.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, I did watch it out of order. So like it was the little kids episode was episode 5 Steel.
That's 5.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yeah. So I did watch it out of order. So like my thing was. I watched the first 2 episodes, Coach's Kid in Blue, and then Disney Plus like probably thought I was on episode 5 somehow, and I watched episode 5, and then after I ended that episode, I went on in the menu and like, wait, so I missed episode 5, so I went back to episode 3. So I saw. So what I like about this perspective too is like I feel like I didn't miss anything because I saw the kid's perspective first of him going into that party.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I saw the kid's perspective going into that party and seeing Raspberry seeing Rochelle for the first time.
Yeah. Does he sees Rochelle?
I think they're chasing.
He sees the after effects of it. He doesn't see the kid. He doesn't see Rochelle. He sees her all after because.
Oh yeah. I love that. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's what's also again great about all of these sequences in these episodes where they tether, where they don't tether. It's like, man, when they tether together at certain moments, it's like, oh my god, this is. I mean, you can't get any better than this. Like, because two ships passing in the night there. Let's get into obviously episode 4, Pickle. Again, this is the other side of it, right? So this is what's so great is, again, you get to the other side, you get the other vista here, and what you're getting is, okay, yeah, Rochelle has her lens, but you realize, yes, like, maybe, just maybe, Vanessa is just a little not focused at certain times, but she does love her kids, and she is on it. Like, it's just that work fucking sucks, and trying to hold a job was, like, sucks, and all of that balancing was extremely difficult. She's out late because she's doing Uber, because she's trying to catch up with the money that she had hypothetically lost at certain points with that job loss, while trying to find out jobs. Like, she's on it, but we didn't see that lens, and Rochelle doesn't see that lens, and that's fine, because as a kid, you're not going to see that lens, but on the other side of it, it's a completely different situation. Austin?
Oh wait, before you go, I know, there we go.
I could just
3 seconds.
I could pause it.
Hey, you guys want to face Mouse or something?
You do see her. Yeah, you do. I remember I did see her in that episode.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's like MC level cameo right there.
Yeah,
scene.
No, but I did see her. I was like, who's that?
That's good.
Okay,
that's amazing.
Okay, we just cut real quick. So I just showed Bryan the scene.
The 0.3 second scene of seeing Rochelle.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? Because like, why did they have this girl hostage? And she just like tumbled on. Yeah. She just like tumbled away.
Yeah, didn't really.
So let's get this point out of the way.
Yeah.
Vanessa is the full encapsulation of the Pixar mom body. Because, god damn.
That is the final form.
Final form.
It was slow build up to this.
Yeah, because, Jesus Christ. Like, I have seen many a woman that look like Vanessa, and they can all come this way.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the episode itself. It's the beauty of
all right.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the thing is, not that we've talked a lot of flack on Vanessa.
No.
But, we were primarily speaking on Rochelle's perspective, and that's what I like, that we both kind of got lost in. We all got lost in the concept of episode 3, so we can further talk about episode 4, and that's how you know a show is good. But yeah, so it was just we all everybody assumes that Vanessa is just in her own little world, and the irresponsibility of her wanting to focus more on her influencing than her kid. But then we actually get to see the full weight. We get to see that Vanessa does in fact have a job. She has a very shitty job, which is a dynamic of having managers that are significantly younger than you, thinking that they are above you, and not really understanding the ramifications of personal responsibility versus work responsibility, and him just having the cockiness and the gall and the smirk on his face about having to fire her if she leaves because she has to go check on her infant child.
Right. Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would walk out too. How dare you try to make me put a minimum wage job over my fucking baby? You know?
Yeah. And that's the thing that, just that little small part of the episode is like, it's one of those fragments that is, hey, like, you see this everywhere. Literally. Hey, this happened. Hey, can I just, and so many, we're talking people that are even older, not just young managers, but older managers, just service industry bullshit, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna pay you dog shit, and then when you just need to step out for 3 seconds, or you need to step out for an hour, well, it's impossible, because guess what? I didn't hire 2 other people to cover for if someone else showed up, because I want to make sure that on the back end, I still get my holiday check. Like, that, like, that service industry bullshit is genuine. And, like, so yeah, like, you can absolutely relate to
like, it was already telling that before she even left, he was like, hey, you need to stay late because Joanne called in, she said that she's sick. Like, oh, yeah. Wait, sick of me. Like, yeah, because you ain't shit, nigga. I quit too. Like,
fucking stupid.
But then, like, it was the fact that even then, like, when it seemed like Vanessa rather, was making an irresponsible decision, she was doing more and more things. Like, she was doing any and everything she could to provide for hers. Because that's what a parent is, that's what an actual parent is going to do. You know? So, yeah, she's going to have to do Lyft or Uber for a while because it's going to pay the bills. You know?
And in Rochelle's perception of not telling her mom about the new cost was simply that, hey, I can't tell her this, or I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, it's impossible. And so in doing so, the shoes, it's so weird because it's like, okay, like, as Rochelle said, it's like, how did we like, mentally, like, as she's telling the coach's daughter, Lauren, in school the next day, it's like, we can't, how did she even afford to do that? Like, we gotta balance this better. But the shoes came at the cost of hypothetically paying for the, like, or being close to paying for the, not paying for the entire $1,600, but paying for a good chunk along the way, to go back the following year. And so it's a weird balance of, wait a minute, like, you could, but you couldn't, but, like, you know, it's these mind games of, like, man, like, the shoe thing was, like, it's out of love, but also out of, well, we can't afford this, but I love you, like, or I'm gonna make sure that you can put your best out there, like, you know, just little things there. We also see that in obviously the cheating. You see that with the test. Like, at first, her mom goes to bat for her in episode 2. There's no fucking way. Get the fuck out of here. That's BS. And then, once she looks at the paper, it's like,
that realization.
But only, like, let's be honest here, if you didn't give a fuck about your kid, you wouldn't care what the handwriting is like. You wouldn't be investigating that far. And so, because, like, little ways.
It's the fact that Rochelle is a good student. Rochelle is always on top of things that she's like, there's no way that she could be doing things behind my back.
Right.
You know, like, it's like, and that's what adultification does, is like, you put your kids on such a pedestal, but then when they're in a predicament where they need your guidance and they need you, and they can't rely on you, they're gonna have to fend for themselves because they, like, in a sad but beautiful way, she learned, like, she got that influence from her mom, that whole concept of, like, even when I'm down and out, I'm still going to do what I can to provide for mine. So, like, in a weird way, like, it's nice that Rochelle has that ingenuity for herself, but it's the fact that this is the way that we find out.
Right. Yeah, it's I thought, again, throughout the episode, you just kind of, that's the learned approach, is like, yeah, you've unfortunately, just because of the situation at hand, Rochelle doesn't feel like she can
rely on you.
Just like that's not an option. So, you know, that's where we are right now. And it's the moment of, you mentioned this at the end of our episode discussion of these 2 episodes in our last recording, but that ending where it could have gone one way, but here we had a mother-daughter moment was so extremely valuable, and we don't get to see it. Tell me what you were thinking about, if you remember that. If you had a great perspective on it.
It's like, again, it's the beauty of the fact that, so like one of the things that clearly bothered me and Rochelle was the fact that like when they were having that conversation about what was going on with football. I mean, not football, softball.
Yeah.
I don't know where my mind was.
Nah.
But yeah, like the conversation with softball and like her getting the Red Valkyries, it was the fact that Vanessa immediately like showed this alter influence. Like it was the fact that we didn't figure out about this, like Rochelle didn't figure out about this until she saw Lori looking at it on her mom's account. Like, yeah, I follow your mom all the time. Yeah, she posted that. And it was that, you know, it was the fact that like Vanessa did not use this dead serious opportunity as a moment to brag about her brag to her influencers. It was the fact that like this clearly hurt Rochelle to like publicize their personal matters, and like that's definitely a moment where like because you see it all the time where kids like where parents will post their like like it's practically public humiliation, like where they publicize their punishments towards their kids.
Yes.
You know, not everything has to be a visual lesson. Because, like, when you take it a step further by publicly humiliating them, that's just going to cause them to resent you.
1000%.
You know? And, like, Vanessa easily could have turned that dead serious moment into, like, me and my baby had a heart-to-heart, but we got through it as parents always do. # love my baby. Like, that easily could have been something that Vanessa did, but she didn't. She kept it between them. And like, not only did she keep it between them, she kept it away from the audience as well. Because, again, not everything needs to be discussed around somebody else.
1000%.
And that's just beautiful.
Yes. And that's why this episode is beautiful, you know. And, you know, these two go hand in hand, obviously. But again, like, shout out to Pixar for these two episodes, as we talked about with episode 7. It's just another example of really presenting it well. And, again, like, the little moments of the tethering together, like you said about, you know, about, obviously, Vanessa being on her phone and showing off everything. Like, in Vanessa's mind, she's still looking at in Vanessa's mind, she's still looking at Rochelle at the softball game. And when, you know, like when they're cheering and having a good time. But Rochelle sees that her mom's on her phone, looking at her phone, and then behind showing her daughter. Like, that has an impact. But to not do that and to have that moment, it's incredibly valuable, and it is a sign. It's a heads up. Hey, make sure these moments are not all constantly circulating. Like, hey, we gotta circulate these. Like, you can't. You gotta have these moments together that are private. All right. Go ahead. Oh yeah, Mark, you had thoughts on episode 4. Fuck it. Go ahead. What are you?
What I like.
You're here.
Well, I like what the story does. Well,
I'm in, Mark. Don't worry.
I wasn't really originally supposed to be here anyway. I'll just let you guys go ahead.
But here we are in the K9 Biscuits broadcast studio.
Because your recording fucked up. You had to come crawling back to me. All right.
You said it.
What I like what a story does is like when you take a character that's like not an antagonist or a villain, that's like that I find that's like either annoying or like I really don't like them. You like throughout the story you progressively like turn them around to me, because I did not like Vanessa. I think the introduction to her was in episode 2 during a parent teacher conference. Like, she was just kind of this show-offy stuck-up mother that thinks her child can do nothing wrong, even though we saw through his perspective she was cheating. And then episode 3, Raspberry, I really didn't like her because you see through Rachel's perspective. It's Rachel, right?
Rochelle.
Rochelle's perspective.
no,
like
no.
she is trying to do everything, and like it doesn't seem like the mom is like doing much for her and just kind of ignoring her. And it's like and that's why I really like this episode, because like it just shows me. It shows like there's a different perspective to all of this. She is trying to do the most, and I guess to others she just it doesn't come off the way like she wanted to. Like to her, she's like working her magic on everything.
Exactly. Because that is what it looks like. Yeah, it's all just, yeah, I got it. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And then episode 4, you said?
Episode 4. Hello?
No, Mark's thoughts on episode 4.
No, that was
my thoughts.
No, he was saying on episode 4. In episode 4, it was like Vanessa. Very often we saw her use that sort of not magic, but it's like around her would be the fluttering hearts, and then boom, it's like all right, this is good.
And I like how
good.
we go back to episode 2 where like she assumes she's like all she had to do is just like talk to him and like she just worked her magic on the on a teacher.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good point, because how they utilize that again visually, just little moments, little ways where it's like, hey, how do we perceive this? How does she perceive it? Well, we see that through those moments with the hearts, like boom, all right, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And notably, again, talking about we talked about Rochelle and the character that was built up there. The little moments where she's going through, I think she goes through, she's looking for certain jobs, Vanessa, and it's like one of them has a gym. She's like, girl, like just little moments where I was like, I love this character. By the end of episode 4, you're like, this character is amazing. Like before, like now there's things to work on, but she's human. Like that's the thing about all these characters. They're human. And like
Vanessa is absolutely, without a doubt, somebody that I would smoke a blunt with. And that is that is a 100% act of kindness. You don't just waste your weed with nobody.
And she would vlog about it too while you're smoking.
Fuck yeah.
I think she would do that about an hour in, you think? Not immediately. Not an hour.
It'd be good for doing immediately.
That's another thing I do want to touch on with Vanessa is that I appreciate that the idea of her being an influencer is very important to her. Because it's the same thing as us doing podcasting and video essays. That's just as important to us. And it's just the idea that we should not minimalize people's interests just because we feel it's this textbook definition of inferior. Anybody can be passionate about anything. It's just about are we prioritizing everything else on top of prioritizing that?
1,000%. Yeah, you're right on the money, because again, the whole thing with this one-to-one with Vanessa, the content creation thing, it's like, if you are hyper fixated on how does everyone else perceive this moment versus how do you perceive this moment, it's like you can have that support system, but how do you and those around you perceive this moment? And that's why, again, at the end of the episode, she's able to step back a bit and just have moments. Doesn't mean 100%. You always have to be off of your phone. That's always going to be part of what she does, but just moments there to understand, hey, gotta be a little more subtle here, not utilize it everywhere I go. And if I'm gonna do it everywhere I go, in more minor moments, so I'm more focused on what's happening around me, or, yeah.
I thought it was very unique of the show to have an influencer parent, and especially influencer adult. Usually that role is to either a younger teen or a kid.
Good point.
And it's usually when there is for certain shows that have an adult that's trying to be an influencer, they're in the character style of how you do fellow kids. They're just
out of touch.
They're purposely made to be out of touch and lame and trying to do old trends. But no, she is trendy and she is not portrayed as a lame old fuddy-duddy trying to do what the kids are doing. She kind of grew up with this technology and she knows how to use it.
Yeah, she's about our age, I would think, if not a little younger. But I feel she's about it. She's got to be around our age,
it just goes into making this world feel really realistic, and I do like that.
Yes, 1,000%. All right, we're gonna talk about the duo, the relationship duo of episode 2, Blue, and episode 6, Mixed Signals. after this. All right, let's get into episode 2. Don't know what happened here.
What happened?
I don't know. It feels like that's going to be a problem in the future. I think we're good though, Austin, since we're bouncing off each other pretty well, but I don't know what the hell happened over there. We're just going to proceed as normal and make sure that none of us also get converted into whatever the fuck happened with Mark. But yeah.
What's going on?
What happened to Mark? I don't know what happened to Mark, so we're just going to act like everything's cool and we're just going to proceed as normal.
Has Mark turned into Sonic?
You know, turned into, or I mean, because he would be talking right now, so I don't know if he's been, if his soul is now within the plushie and he can't talk. I don't know what's going on. I just know something's fucked up. Either way, we're gonna keep it moving, Austin, because I don't know how this rule works. But yeah, episode 2 is Blue. This follows the umpire and teacher Frank. He is throughout the series, obviously, but this is his core episode. And in general, the core here is that Frank ended up breaking it off with his partner, who was another teacher, who wanted their relationship to progress into marriage. And now he has this feeling of loss of direction and hindsight stress. And he's used this shield and bubble of armor to protect him from any wrongdoing or any insecurities or lack of comfort. You know, I think this fits the fact that he is a teacher and he is an umpire, but then his attempt to remain shielded kind of puts it puts a divot in the separation into what he could have in his own personal relationships. What did you think of 2, or Blue, I should say? Also.
So, Blue was episode 2 was just like the epitome of adult secondhand embarrassment. Because I finished Toucan Birdie, and Toucan Birdie is also another show that is just really damn good at doing the whole concept of sympathy cringing, secondhand embarrassment, God, oh my God, why would you do that now? I feel awkward.
Right. Right.
And especially when it comes to the dangerous task of dating dating in your 30s. Or when for us, we're just really getting there, which is another thing with Vanessa, was that the fact that Vanessa was doing all of this shit on her 30th birthday too.
It's all, oh my God, yeah, we're inching there. But no, I feel you. Those shows, Toucan and Birdie do a really good job of not just that, but that secondhand, but snowballing. That's what's even worse. Is snowballing, and it's oh my God. Not only is this worse, it's what led to it beyond that. Oh my God. Yeah, agreed, 1000%.
Because the most it's one thing for them to be embarrassed about regretting his choices with the breakup and all of that. But the thing that really got me is that one time where you try to holler at the shorty up at the convenience store, or at the store.
Yeah.
That, he was trying to just ask the barista out, and was because to an extent, some of us have been there.
Oh, of course.
Just we see a little cute little fine shit over the counter, so hey, what's up with you? You know, or vice versa.
Yeah. Naturally. Sorry, it's you kind of don't realize. Yeah, it's the aura of this person that's utilizing, again, it's wow. Yeah, you seem pretty chill, or you seem like a very nice person. Yeah, let me ask. And it's 35 people have asked today, and I was just being nice in my role as a customer, customer service employee.
Yeah, because that was the part that made it a bit more embarrassing.
Yes.
Is not the fact that he's like a brother to me, that was just funny, but more so the fact that she was whispering to herself, why does this keep happening? Because then it's that pressure, it's that pressure, damn, you feel bad because you feel like you're making them uncomfortable, and that wasn't your intention, and Yeah, so like I totally empathize with Blue here, like in this entire episode, and that's why, like, admittedly, by no means is it a bad episode. For me, it's just the hardest to watch. Like to watch and rewatches.
No, 1,000%. Because like, well, those moments. Obviously, there's other moments where it's like, all right, that's not too bad. But like the progression of it's the, especially the end. The climb to the end that's where you really are like, oh my fucking god, bud. Like, but we all have done.
It was just like,
yeah. Go ahead.
It was just like, how bad could you possibly fumble a bag, bro? Like, how bad? Like, this is a woman that went LARPing with you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not gonna put a ring on something like that, I will.
You're missing out, and it's like,
and I understand, like, his decision and insecurity about not wanting to be married is valid, but the fact that you went as far as to straight up break up with her over it. Yeah, that's where, like, that was where my problem lied with Blue. I'm like, yo, like, she didn't even say, like, let's get married or I want out of this relationship. She was just like, would you like to get married? And I was like, yeah, maybe. Like, it's the beauty of how it was handled in Steven Universe when Steven proposed to Connie, which was also another moment of secondhand embarrassment.
Right.
But, it was the fact that, like, this wasn't, like, her, like, denying the marriage wasn't an end of their relationship.
Yeah.
She blatantly said, like, is this a no? It's a not now, Steven. And she wasn't, like, going to break up with him over that. Like, and it was the fact that, like, Blue was so scared, like, of, like his insecurity is holding him back so hard that he ruined something great for himself.
1,000%.
And that's kind of one of the, like, there's something that a friend had told me, and it's just like, you tend to have 3 different types of love. You have puppy love, the love that you learn from, and the love that sticks around.
1,000%.
And that actually makes that actually makes a lot of sense, because, like, it's the beauty of, like, why we call them exes is that it's not just because they're your former partner, it's because an ex is an experience.
I mean, oh my god, look at it. Hey, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. That's amazing. So is that a common saying right there? Because I've never heard that before. That deserves to be on a poster.
Well, I've heard it before, but
oh my god, that deserves to be
it's
on a
like
poster.
one of those things that I resonate with.
Yeah, we talked about, like, hey, like, I don't know if she was saying that, like, hey, let's get married, like, as a but it felt like,
you know, like, it clearly wasn't a proposal. It was just like I love you a lot, and I'd love to spend the rest of my life with you.
Exactly, and I guess not being able to be that vulnerable was the moment for him that he couldn't commit. But it felt like, like a moment, whether or not that was because it wasn't a final point, but it was a question, and the fact that he was still so anxious to just answer the question. It's like, okay, well, you've got to, it was a moment that you look back on as a mistake, but it means that you yourself have to clearly grow, like, because you're not comfortable with answering that question with someone that's so comfortable with you. And I know last time when we talked about it, like, we talked about, hey, like, would you, like, what a crazy thing to do to leave, like, to here's someone that's, during the online dating thing, it's like, once the ex said she wanted to briefly talk to you, and then was interrupted by Vanessa, like, the idea that you would then block off this entire new relationship that you formed to jump back into whatever your ex is doing doesn't,
like, to jump into a possibility,
just a possibility. It's like, but I like, as recent as whatever that relationship was, if this were, because look, I got out of a long-term relationship in 2022, and if this were 2023, early, whatever, it was early 23, and it's like, if this were like early last year, within a year or something, very close to when that relationship had ended, it was like, like, what do you need? Yeah, anything. What do you, like, I'm like, it's
like, we do have that moment, like, everybody has that one moment of questioning if they still want to pursue it, you know? that moment of like saying like, like maybe we ended off on bad terms. I mean, we could try this again. But like sometimes you got to understand that like that other party might have already moved on now.
1,000%.
There's nothing that you can do about it but move on yourself.
Right.
It's a harsh reality, but unfortunately, it's reality.
Yeah, I thought the school custodian was great. And now, do you want to mention what you said earlier, like at the end of the recording, about the cool school custodian that was like very witty, and it's like it fits well.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even catch it until you said it.
I wholeheartedly believe that the school custodian, and to an extension, OJ, which I call the orange juice, the orange soda kid.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is a shapeshifter. Like, there's no possible explanation how this kid can just be everywhere in these moments of dire need, of assistance or help. Like, it's the fact that, like, the beauty of the kid sharing the kindness on when, like, Rochelle spotted the kid on their soda, and then, like, they returned the favor by giving them change to call their mom. Right. And, like, it was the fact that, like, they just kind of knew a little too much for their own good. Like, not even for their own good, but they just knew a little too much. Like, another character that I think about like that is fucking Calypso and Bluey. Like, Calypso was a goddamn wizard. She knew entirely too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Like another 10 out of 10 show for me. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like that trope of like the omnipresent being that's just everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah, I think of the kid or whatever this being is as like an oracle in a way, because like it's just usually saying something in a riddle or just saying a phrase, and that's it. Because you see, like you said, the dad, the coach in his car. I think after he's been up all night, says something there. Like you said with Vanessa, is with in episode 5 with the kid. In episode 5 there, with the Swedish fish or whatever. Everything like always there, and it's like this moment, this idea, like we don't see the kid at all ever in episode 2, but we do see the custodian, and it's a same hair color, right? Am I not? Same hair.
And like the thing is that we see the kid at the beginning of the intro, and that's technically at the very end of all the discourse.
Yes.
But we don't see them. We don't see them when the custodian steps in and protects Blue during the peak of episode 8. But then we see them again at the pizza spot when they're like after the game. Like, that kid is a shapeshifter.
Yes. All that to say, the kid is likely the custodian in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the idea of portraying the online dating as an RPG, I thought was very well done. The progression of, hey, all right, meet up. How do we do this? Start to find symmetry, move through, progress up, move. Like, good idea. It makes sense. Also, an approachable way for an adult to perceive this too. Like, an adult's probably going to use this idea of an RPG, or maybe even this more gamified, softer language than using, like we talked about, the floatlessness in episode 7. Or the sort of instability that we see in episode 3. Like, no, I like this gamified nature of it. Outside of that, I thought, episode 2 though, I thought fucking phenomenal. But not as, I didn't think was as, it's cringy. I can relate to it, but I thought, this is a guy that needs to work on, that needs to just progress, work on himself, all that. Especially by the end, because by the end it's like, well, now it's like, it's so fucked up that he's now structurally compromised to the point of not even being able to be what he maximizes himself to be anymore. And, that really affects, obviously, the championship, and it affects his well-being. So, yeah. But, yeah. Any final thoughts on 2 before we move to 5, man?
I just do, granted, it kind of ties a bit into episode 8. Yeah. But goddamn, I gotta commend Blue for bagging the Latina fine shit. like, I gotta commend him. I gotta give him props. And like, it was the slow burn. It was the slow buildup of like that first interaction. It was the cinematic imagery of like when his ex was like coming to talk to him, Rochelle just kind of knocked her out of the way.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't in a moment where like one of the moments like, oh my God, who was that? But it was just like, hey, like, this person is kind of like forcing themselves into your lives in a way that is 100% genuinely them.
That is a good point. Absolutely. Yeah. Congrats to him. Yeah. And
because again, it's just like the cool-headed and confident nature of Vanessa. Like, I imagine that is something that Blue was drawn towards Vanessa. And on top of that, it was the fact that the connection for Vanessa is that this is a man that is already a favorite teacher of my daughter, but is also going to save my baby. And I barely even know the guy.
Right.
Like, I'd put a ring on it too.
It all comes together. But yeah. What the fuck?
I was calling for help the whole time!
So, okay, we both theorized. Austin, we talked about this. We both theorized that they're likely your soul got trapped in. I don't know how the fuck you got out, but like, hey. Yeah. Like, I mean, are you good?
I am now. I'm never reading from that book again. Fuck.
That book? How the fuck did you
I found the street and it was glowing and I thought it was cool.
That's a great idea, Mark. Next time,
don't
touch it.
Found the Necronomicon.
Oh no, it was the Holy Bible, but
maybe it isn't all bullshit.
It is. All right. Since you're back, Mark, any thoughts on episode 2? We wrapped up our thoughts on it before we move on to episode 5. Not 5. 6. Yeah.
I think it's my favorite episode.
Okay.
I like the video game tropes it plays around with. What I really like about this episode is that like it's also a great like second episode introduction to the show, because it shows you this is not going to be all about the kids, and it's also showing you like that it's also not about this one character from the first episode. Like it does give you like a vast like it does show you like, okay, we're gonna go through multiple like perspectives, no matter about the age or like if they're on the team or not, because this is not a team, because he's not technically on the team, he's just the whole thing he's trying to be neutral, and meanwhile he's like facing his own problems with like trying to find love, trying to get a date, but like I do like this I do like this character, and I do like and it even shows by the end he doesn't win, and like the cliffhanger it leaves off is great too, because it like it's a perfect like the outside perspective of like the ending of the first episode, where like she gets hit by a giant ball, and then like you see like and then like the next episode you see like, oh, she just got clonked in the head really hard by the ball.
Yeah, it was by episode 10. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah. But yeah, that ending where he gets nothing and then he is just completely affected and loses all the momentum of what he is or what he's best at. It's like, Jesus Christ! All right, well, where's this gonna lead to then?
As a regular show fan, you already have seen this in real time.
What was that?
I said, as a regular show diehard, you've seen this in real time.
Oh yeah. As you know. Yes, indeed.
And I do like his imaginary from his perspective is like he just grows this armor every time, like to be deflective.
Yes.
Adding
like, hey, your insults don't affect me. I'm shielded. I'm fully guarded. I'm ready for this.
So, I have a question for all of you, since like, and adding nuance from the original recording and a pre-existing podcast, who fumbled the bag harder on their potential fun shit? Blue with the dating app girl or Mordecai with CJ?
I don't remember.
Regular
show
show
that much, but yeah.
I'd say structurally we learn a lot about CJ, and so we know. I think what sucks about the loss of the person that he's talking to online is we get amazing chemistry with these two, but we never ever get to see beyond this RPG atmosphere that they're talking with each other. We don't even get to see what that person is on the other end. And so I think there's a bigger loss in that than in CJ, because we get so much.
Correcting myself from CJ and more to Blue's original X. Because that was 100% Blue's fault.
Wait, you said not the one, so you're not talking about, you're talking about the teacher.
Yes. Yeah, I corrected myself.
Oh, that's close then. But I think she was still willing to understand him, but he needed to work on himself. Man, it's almost equal. It's so close. Because I think she's more welcoming to who he is. Not that CJ isn't, but CJ, we've seen, things will go left quickly.
Is that the cloud lord lady? Okay.
Yes. If you stumble,
I haven't seen no such episodes.
If you stumble,
it's
that's a little later.
It's the fact that CJ entertained Mordecai's depression and he basically said fuck off about it.
Yeah.
It was the fact that even their very first dating episode, where there's something that Blue had to endure, which is the whole concept of getting back out into the world and dating again. Even when he tried, and CJ saw that they were visibly depressed, so okay, well, what the hell, dude? Let's try to be friends and see where this goes. And it actually progressed into something great. And as soon as just like how Blue did with the online dating thing, as soon as the ex or the former potential interest steps in, he starts questioning himself, he starts questioning. But Mordecai did it even worse, where he already set up a date with CJ, and then as soon as Margaret's there was the understanding with Margaret was understood, he didn't even cancel with CJ before he just invited Margaret instead.
Wild. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds bad. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen those.
So that one in introduction, it's been a while on my end, so I totally forgot. I can
already tell you it easily the regular show because it has more time to develop.
Well, I think that's.
But it's the matter of.
I can imagine it has some time to. I haven't seen those episodes. I can imagine it had more time to develop. This one is it's one episode.
Right. Yeah, I'm leaning more on win or lose compared to CJ in regular show, but man, it's close. It's not definitive for me, you know? Yeah. Good question though. I'm going to move on to Mixed Signals, the other relationship episode. This follows Ewan, who's voiced by Isaac Wang, and Taylor, voiced by Kylie Curran. Even though this is a relationship that is, we get to spend time with both people, it is really centrally focused on Ewan, who is the pitcher, the core pitcher of this team, the Pickles. And one thing that we see from the start is that Ewan's confidence and his skill in pitching that he's learned has given him this incredible ability to build an incredible bravado. To the point where his true self is absolutely not anywhere close to what that really is, but he's got this grand bravado, and we know people like this, but this allows him to quickly pivot out of extreme anxiety-inducing situations, and it allows things to shift on a dime. It also allows a snowballing effect into his own admission of attraction to Taylor after just being pressed, by Rochelle. So, Austin, what did you think of Mixed Signals?
So we talked very extensively about this in the previous recording, and it was just the realism of how the characters are portrayed in this situation. Same thing with how we talked about Kai's dad, where we didn't hate him because we understood the assignment, and it's Ewan's reaction is so natural. You know, like this is exactly how I would expect a 12-year-old boy to operate in his first ever relationship where he's finally showing his true self.
Right.
Because 12-year-old boys are naturally insecure. They get jealous, they get possessive, they get angry, and like they say things that they don't mean because they haven't really processed that sense of having a filter yet, you know? And I did think that their relationship was adorable. I thought that it was cute, and I really loved this is an episode that really like expressed the concept of really expressed like how much Pixar wants to diversify like how much animation they're using in their shows, or well, this is a show, but in their animation in general. And that was something that Turning Red did a lot, having those cartoony and anime elements. I really loved that the true representation of Ewan's feelings was this 2D cardboard cutout aesthetic. You know, it was really sweet and like showing what Ewan is really truly feeling on the inside, but he doesn't really want to show it. You know, and the one thing that made me really concerned in this episode is like they keep teasing at it is what the fuck is going on with Tom? Like I am dead serious.
It's not funny, but it is a deep mystery. I mean, genuinely, because what we learn just in the little bits of dialogue we get is not the best. Like he's going through some shit here.
Like this, like Tom is the reason why I wish that we could get a season 2 because there's clearly something going on that we don't know about. I presume his mom is one of the people in the PTA, like the very first person that harassed Vanessa about Rochelle, like with the bowl cut esque, like like the long, the tall, lanky lady.
You think she's the? Do you think she's the?
I assume that she's Tom's mom.
Okay.
Like. So like in that like the first thing that we hear about him is how he wishes that Vanessa was his mom. Like the first thing that we hear about him outside of the team. And then we get to this episode and there's some shit going on with his brother. Like what? Like what? You know, like we don't even know that Tom had a brother. What's going on with his bro? Is he okay? And the fact that he is confiding in Taylor specifically about this stuff. Like, I am genuinely concerned about my tall, lanky, and oblivious boy. Like, what's wrong with my baby? Like, what's wrong with my child?
No, 1,000%. Like, you know, as you naturally would a teacher and a student, you know, it's like, hey, this shit is going on. But you're watching this and perceiving this and like, damn, he's clearly going through something here. And the thing that Tom...
The fact that on top of that, he was struggling with his grades with Rochelle.
Yeah, that too. It's like the thing that Tom, I think... I don't know if I'm sure he doesn't. Whether he realizes it or not, like he's truly himself. Like in comparison to obviously Ewan, who's built this bravado and is slowly trying to piece by piece understand how to adjust himself in a relationship where he needs to show his true self more to Taylor. It's like that moment where obviously all three of them are together and you have this jealousy. That feeling of Tom just being himself is an absolute juxtaposition to, again, Ewan having to reconstruct how he perceives and presents himself and, you know, builds on that jealousy of like, alright, what the fuck is going on here that you can just be so comfortably casual with someone that I like. Like, you can't even, really? Like, any little thing, it just exploded. But yeah, like Tom is genuinely, again, he's the core outsider. When you think about any other characters on the Pickles, he is the core outsider that doesn't get an episode that really needs an episode. Outside of Taylor, who gets to be in the episode, that's what I'll say. She gets to be in the episode along with episode 5, where she gets to be in the episode, but is not the core focus. You know. Like those two, I think, really, it would help if both of those characters had their own specific episodes that would help there. Again, like as we see as the episode progresses, that Ewan has to again quiet this bravado for what Taylor wants and what will strengthen this relationship. Just an honest chemistry. That's what needs to build here if we want to be comfortable, and that's what she was asking for. And you see that again after this montage, they do become more comfortable with each other. You see even that Ewan's clothes have changed to complement Taylor's clothes. Like it's genuine. But then you get the eventual obvious relationship storms, the stormy moments, and just through that misconstrued jealousy there, or the jealousy that becomes chaos. And it all kind of falls apart into this degree that snowballs at the championship game. You know?
And like one of the beautiful things about that relationship is like, well, first off, the silly thing, and then I get to the beautiful thing is when he's revealing his true self, it's the fact that he talks to Kai about it. Like he's saying, like, this is a side of me that I've never even shown Kai. And it's clearly like established that Ewan and Kai have something of a deep connection with each other. I don't know if it's alluding to the fact that like this is who Ewan is falling for in the moment, like falling for after he gets he's done with Taylor. But I thought that it was cute. But the cute thing and the silly thing was how the relationship is perceived in Ewan's head. You know, like the old thing of like Taylor talking to Tom and it being portrayed like if Taylor was like in the other room talking to another guy that like Ewan doesn't know about. Like that, like those are the things that goes through the minds of a 12-year-old boy. I mean, and like it's that one thing of just like appreciating realism and like realism when it comes to age ranges and age dynamics in cartoons.
But that is accurate to a 12-year-old. But it's also connective to someone that is just not emotionally mature in general. Like you could be 30 and still have those flaws, and that's what I think is fitting there. Is like, you know, you could still have those flaws, you know, if you're 30 and you don't. Oh no, he lost his hat. But I don't know if that's the same Mark. He's not wearing his bucket hat suddenly.
And he won't take me to cowboy camp without my hat.
Yeah, but we see this like that. It's relatable through the fact that we all like either you're not emotionally mature enough yet, or you remember not being emotionally mature to the point that you recall being at that age, or your first relationship, and stepping into those moments with a little bit of insecurity and anxiety in areas that you shouldn't if you really valued the person and understood that the person valued you.
For me, it's like I 100% appreciate when cartoons try to keep kids as realistic as humanly possible. Because another, like, a show that you all both know that I loved a lot was Clarence. You know, right? Clarence, Steven Universe, Arthur, all of these shows are very, very, very realistic interpretations of how children and their age dynamics operate. Like, as much as I love Hey Arnold, there is no feasible moment where a 9-year-old would possibly help a butcher run for Congress. Like, that's the type of stuff where it's just like, it's nice, you know, it's nice that you have, like, it's nice that he does all of these things, but it's just like Arnold is more relatable to the middle school dynamic than he is as a 4th grader.
Agreed. Yeah. It's, again, I think that's why, again, like, I again and again and again, shout out Win or Lose for what it is, and how it interprets not just this age range, but how it interprets the characters. How much, like, again, I talked about in those quotes, they really spent so much time. How do we make these characters just breathe, walk, express in ways that are so individualistic, and so much so that they become their own. They are nowhere close to cardboard cutouts. Even as ironic as that is for, obviously, Ewan, who, you know, is portrayed with a cardboard cutout at his soul. You had mentioned when we recorded before this, the previous attempt there, that there were little things that you think kind of tethered into not episode 7, but if you tether back to episode 7, there's comfort with Ewan and, I don't know why my brain is skipping on, Jesus Christ. Oh my God! It's been 2.5 hours. All right.
Yeah.
But
no, it's been 2 hours and 5 minutes.
All right, Mark. All right. Thank you for the.
Well, actually,
you should have your shit together, Bryan. It's only been 2 hours, so come on, Kai. It's like
You got 25 minutes
Those
to
two
lose your
bounce
shit.
off. Those two clearly bounce off each other well. They're sitting there comfortable at the taco spot, run by I think Ewan's mom, and it's like cool. Like they're just chill. Like there's no it's like, and he opens up to, I think like you mentioned, he opens up to Kai before anyone else there.
Yeah, so like I think that they were like the beauty of the storyline of like his inner self is that when Taylor and Ewan finally break up, which I want to get into Taylor's perspective, when they finally break up, we notice that Ewan's heart isn't broken, it's just broken in half.
Right.
And it's like, even in episode 7, like Ewan is chilling with Kai. And it's the fact that before he revealed his inner self to Taylor, it's the fact that he said that like Taylor has never even seen the side of me.
Right.
I mean, that Kai has never even seen the side of me. And like Kai is definitely somebody that he trusts and confides in a lot. And if there was a season 2, I think they were alluding to the idea that Kai and Ewan might be a thing.
Gotcha. And again, like that's, and like again, these are just these are bonds that are, you look at the bonds that are tethered together in this series, and it's like that's there. Like it's not like what the fuck. It's like no, those, we see that they have chemistry. That's all. Like
I do feel like the storyline, like we did, like it was a lot more one-sided in my opinion.
Yes.
Like from Ewan's perspective, I kind of wish that we got more of what Taylor was going through. You
Absolutely.
know, like how Taylor's inner self was perceiving all of these things.
Yeah. Because what I love is we get a lot of Ewan, but we only get like we get so little of Taylor. Like it is Taylor
like,
who is
like her inner self doesn't even speak. Like the one voice that we hear of Taylor's inner self is just like the generic kid laughter number 35.
That you see, you hear it in commercials, you hear it in, like that. I feel you, and it's like, but from what we see, it's like, she's got her, like, they have her, she's the one that reaches her hand out first at the movie theater, it's like, for first contact.
It's like,
and
with Ivor's episode, a lot of what Taylor is going through is just told from the other perspectives. It's not really like, Taylor doesn't really get a primary focus, you know? And that's the one flaw that I have, was that, like, it just feels like Taylor is a bit of a plot device more than she is, like, the plot.
Agreed. Right. And that is, again, like, that goes back to, if this were, let's say, 10, all this thing needs is, like, 10 episodes instead of 8, and you get, who's
we
Tom?
probably would have gotten that Tom story.
you get Tom, and you get her. And it's like, there's 2 more episodes right there. Boom. 9, 10. And it's like, well, it would be 8, 9, and then 10 would be the final. But I think, again, this still works very well. I still think, again, amazing show. But really, those 2 are what I think really need more definition, if we're going to be honest. I think, that's the thing, is, she's again, we get so little about her perception. But let's move over to the other episode where we do get some bit of perception about Taylor, obviously. And that's episode 5, that's Steel. This follows Ira, that's Taylor's younger brother. It's voiced by Dorian Watson. I think, I personally love any portrayal of the boundlessness of imagination. I mean, like Chalk Zone, Kids Next Door, Gumball, like that, the awesomeness that is, where your mind can go in any direction, and how things can just exist in your mind.
This is the episode where the Creek Riders show their colors.
And more of that phenomenal whole thing of just like realistic interpretations of children, like how children operate and navigate the world. Like, I really love the idea that he sees his own universe through his the telescope that he made.
Yes.
And it really like shows that like how impressionable children really are, and how the like one, while it's not as dire as how Vanessa was acting towards Rochelle, it's clear that like they still have to deal with the dynamic of Ivra and Taylor dealing with a semi-absent parent.
Yes. Yeah, I think,
like, and it's not that she's an irresponsible parent, but I also give her some slack because she is a nurse. Like, healthcare work is very difficult. As somebody that has worked in a nursing home, I know.
But it's not just the mom; it's both. Like, they're both at the house. I don't know what the
dad, like they're both clearly like all the parents here are clearly very loving and caring. Questionable next to Tom's, but
yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah,
but by the way, like, another standpoint about Tom is like the one thing that, like, I feel like most of Gen Z is pissed off about him is that, like, he essentially snitched and gave away the entire concept of burner accounts.
Yeah. Well, I understand. Yeah, he could be, you know, hey, you're revealing a secret, but that also tells you how fucking well read they were when they were building this series. I mean, A+ for that. Like goddamn.
There's, like, because of Tom, there is definitely going to be some parent that's just like had that spidey sense, just like, hey, Stacy, give me your phone.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, but I think, you know, what's so good about this episode and many things about this episode is because I want to get into obviously the Taylor Ivra thing, but yeah, that perception of the like how kids take it threw me right back to when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, just how you can perceive little mundane things like you're bored as shit. You're at a baseball game. You're at wherever, something that a family member wants to do.
And like the big one is like having to go to fucking Home Depot to the supermarket with your mom, and you just gotta kind of find a way to make your own fun.
Right, exactly. Like just finding that imagination through the mundane. Like I remember going through so many clothing stores with my mom, like at the mall for like back when I was younger, and like I'd have to imagine hide and seek. By myself, not with other family members. By myself under the clothes. I had. Like these are just
like that was the one person I had and resonated with the relationship with Taylor and I, because not only was I had a sibling, but I had a twin. You know.
Yeah.
And it was like for Taylor and Ivan, like I resonated with the whole thing of like where it just seems like when Taylor got her boyfriend, they're like. Interests kind of diluted, like their love for each other didn't really dilute, but it was just like Taylor has her own life now and she's finding herself and exploring herself, especially as a middle schooler. And like the thing is, and more of that harsh reality thing is that like the older you get, like the more you and your siblings kind of diverge in personalities, and like you find your own things that you like, you drift apart, you like in this instance you get into a relationship and you kind of want to focus on that for right now. So I resonate with Taylor in like how she was just like in the peak of her like getting ready to break up with Ewan, she had that moment just like, I'm so tired of taking care of little boys and their little problems, and like that also comes in part of like the fact that her parent isn't really around to entertain her. Like she constantly has to keep Ivra busy during her practices, that she constantly has to talk to Ivra, not just during practices, during games, like how it's almost over, just let me do this pitch, let this inning go out. And even like the hilarious moment of like how we've all seen, like we see the moment of them having the meeting with the dad multiple times, with the coach multiple times, but from Ira's moment, it's just blah 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 blah,
yeah,
blah 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 blah, blah blah blah. Like that, it just resonates with like how irrelevant this is to Ira, how he just wants to go home and play Smash with his sister.
Yeah,
but then because of that inattentiveness, he got caught up in the bad crowd.
Exactly.
And then we get to the bleacher creatures.
Right. So before I do want to talk Taylor, and you mentioned the core point there. Like this whole episode, a lot of it is that it focuses on this dance again that Taylor should not have to do. Like you said, this is a responsibility of a parent who's relegated guardian tasks to a sibling. Like that's the core. That's one of the many cores of this episode. But yeah, like I do got to shout out though from the art, the design of his imagination. It's very Hilda art style, like, you know, it blooms with fun and, you know, electricity, and I love how he interprets that. But yeah, like, I just want to shout out briefly, like, yeah, it's a very Hilda art style. Anytime,
well, I don't know what it was about. Like, I don't think it was necessarily the art style, but more so the aesthetic. Something about it gave me huge One Piece vibes.
Okay.
Like, there is that one bit where they were pirates, but like, again, it has nothing to do with the art style, but more so the aesthetic and lighthearted nature of it.
Understood. Yeah, absolutely.
But
I get you.
It was just like the beauty of like how they're clearly doing dangerous and reckless shit, but like through Ira's lenses, it's that like, oh my god, these cool kids think that I'm cool, you know, and like that's probably like going back to Hey Arnold, like one of the few instances where like Hey Arnold executed this perfectly, where like he felt like he was like he was hanging with some older kids. They convinced him that he was a cool kid, and then he fell into a bad crowd and realized that they didn't think that he was cool. They just needed him.
They just used him, exactly. And that's what's core and relatable to this story, or a breaking off point to so many other relatable things. It's like, yeah, like you, whether it's being a young person, being very young, you look at teenagers and they actually give a fuck about, it's like, oh my god, like you guys are like, you remember being a kid and you look at teenagers, like adults are a completely different level, but you look at teenagers, you are in a completely different world. Like, so you want to hang out with me? What the fuck's going on here? Okay, whatever, cool. Like, sure. And yeah, like it's the idea of being you know, the other idea of we're not here with you because we like to spend time with you. We're here to use you. That is something that again you learn at some point in time, but is done very well here. Yeah, I gotta shout out the gravity shift. Obviously, we finally see the mother and father scene. When the mother walks in, they're obviously the two siblings are talking, and then the mother walks in, and the gravity fucking shifts. I mean, holy shit. Like, very relatable. Gravity shifts.
He quite literally becomes the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do love that, like, the father isn't one of those generic, like, ain't no, my baby ain't gonna have no girlfriends. Like, he's actually, like, 100% supportive. He's like,
and I will say,
like, because I make that good lasagna.
So I agree. He is supportive, but it's like, but where are you? That's my only thing. Is like, yeah, like, this is good. But I mean, these are probably two very heavily working parents. But again, it still goes back to Taylor, who was relegated again to these tasks. Again, it's like, where are you? Like, cool, you're 100% at home, but like again, both of you guys are not there. So you know that is still a question.
And again, it's not even that they it's not even that they are absent in a way that Vanessa was absent. It's just clearly
Vanessa was there. But not there, but there.
She was oblivious, I'll say.
Exactly, that's the only thing.
It's just the fact that, like, again, I will cut their mom some slack because she is, in fact, a nurse.
No, I get that. I'm not saying her, yes, but there's got to be a balance. That's the thing. There's got to be some sort of balance here.
It's clear that parental inattentiveness is not 100% the issue here, but it's an issue.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Absolutely. And like you said earlier, when the relationship starts, it's like Ira starts to get third wheeled in what used to be just guardian by sibling kid relationship, or they were chill at one point, but more now guardian sibling with kid sibling relationship. But now that's just like, well, now because Taylor and Ewan's relationship exists, anytime that Ira can slip away, he does. And like you said, just more companionship with the teenagers, you know, like, and all he's doing is he's just having an adventurous time, like you said before, like, but there is still that moral, like, stance that never left, the theft of the snack shack. Like that's never left.
Yeah, like an episode that, like, in a sense where, like, it's a hard watch for me because, like, the moment that really hits me personally is the disappointment on the lady's, like, on the convenience lady's face when she realizes that he helped her steal. Like, he helped him steal. Like, she was so sweet to him too, and like it was nice to know that Ira did feel guilt about that. Yeah. You know?
Because the woman in the wheelchair, what usually happens is you get a transition with Ira in the telescope, but even before we see the telescope shift, she's into what, like, his imagination thing, like, because she's like, what space fares would you like to buy? Like, she's like, welcoming this kid, like, who's got this super high imagination. She's like, cool, whatever you want, kid, let me know, let's do some purchasing, but I'm invested in your own concept here.
There's in the galaxy type shit.
Right, yeah.
She knew who Ira was and like entertained him. You know?
Yeah.
So like the disappointment was bad. And, like, on top of that, it was the fact that, like, more of the bleacher creatures, like, rightfully being pieces of shit, like, correctly being pieces of shit, is that they kept calling her a fucking cyborg.
Wild. Wild, man. Just shitheads. But they are as much as oh my god, why is this either way, they are accurate. Like, that's my point. Is they are accurate teenage shitheads that have nothing to do in a town that has nothing to do. They hate the world around them, they want to get the fuck out of there, and they are being assholes. And as much as I want to hate them, and I do hate them for what they do, they should know better, but also it's like, they're shitheads.
Dad, where, like, you don't hate them because you understood the assignment.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, this is a world. This is present. This is an existing. It just exists. So shout out to it.
Teenagers are fucking evil.
Yes. Yeah, but so obviously they go through and you go through the party and then things fall apart because the bleacher creatures had their own falling out with, like Mark had mentioned earlier, with Rochelle there, and they're pissed. And so, one of the bleacher creatures, the core bleacher creature, rips up his telescope like a shithead. He leaves the party. He rejoins his family. Very, very Mission Impossible, by the way. Just but he lived across the street. But slipped right back in, no problem. Which again leads to more of the question. Again, the parents don't really pay attention to Ira. Which again, one of those parents has to. I don't really. Again, like, I understand the mom is a nurse, but I mean, we got to get some balance here. There's no balance here. But that's natural. Again, going back to these are real people. But again, core part here that I think is absolutely amazing and a phenomenal way to end, like, is so he goes and he admits his guilt for stealing. But we're sorry, right before that, this really tells you there's a moment. Ira never sees his parents as people to reach out to. So the moment that Taylor also closes herself off from him when he's attempting to admit his guilt for stealing, like, that's when he closes himself off too. Now, thankfully, that doesn't mean that he goes into a worse scenario. There's another timeline. There's another hypothetical multiverse or whatever the fuck where things get worse because he has no one to reach out to at that point. And that's the scary thing. That's the scary fucking thing of a scenario where,
like, while Taylor was justified in being Taylor
is justified in being irritated. That's not her responsibility. But that means that now Ira has no one to reach out to.
Yeah, but it was just like, for me, it was just like the fact that, like, she kept saying, like, well, I told you not to go to chill the bleacher creatures. Like, it was a conversation that I had with my mom about, like, we were watching Different Strokes, and it was the episode where Sam gets kidnapped. Right. And I'm just like I was saying, like, why would he just automatically assume that the guy would kill his parents? Like, he doesn't even know who they are. And my mom was just like, because he's a little boy and he doesn't know any better.
There you go. Simple as that.
Like, that was like, that's why, like, I had, like, again, Taylor 100% justified, but that's why I had problems with, like, her, like, warning him about the bleacher creatures, because he's a kid. He's a kid, he doesn't know any better, and no one's paying attention to him.
But is anyone paying attention to informing Taylor how constant she needs to be on the swivel? Or is she just set with ground rules and kind of, she's overseeing, but then she also wants to, that's the thing, is, again, like, I understand that, like, but she also just wants to have a moment here where she gets to evolve.
It was the beauty of, like, how Ira sees Taylor. He actually, like, through his lens, he sees her as, like, this unstoppable force.
Yes. It's beautiful. Yes. She is the be-all, end-all. She is the savior. She is the salvation. She is a hero among heroes. I mean,
it shattered his, like, in that moment, like the fact that like she yelled at him like that after he made a bad move and wanted to atone for it, she shattered his world for a bit.
Yes.
And like that's why like that beauty of like when the bleacher creatures finally like say like, you know what, I'm sorry, and they're trying to utilize him to steal some shit one more time, his eyes glow up for a split second. Like
yeah, I think everything about that final bit there, that scene where again he's about to, you know, he's got the letter, he's written it, he's apologized, turns around, they say they're sorry. It's the way everything's framed. Like,
yes,
it's not like this is like approaching the style of like a devilish figure having exactly the very thing that was part of you, that was so important to you, so
that made you yourself
special, and it's so tempting. It's like so tempting. It's so well done because like he's reaching out from the darkness. It's like, here, take the thing. It's almost the snake with the apple. It is so fucking well framed, and like you get the glimmer in his eye. It's amazing. Like I can't.
You almost have like you have that moment of question, like you had that moment like when as soon as it ended, like I was like, oh no, Ira, don't do it, you know?
Yeah, but it's like what it means and what that could represent for anyone in any situation just throws you back into that, hey, like just remember where you need to be here, kind of recenter yourself. And that's why episode 5, I think, from beginning to end and where he has to situationally deal. I love this episode. Obviously, you get that understanding of Taylor's, the stress that Taylor is under with the guardianish responsibilities that she shouldn't have to partake in, but is required to partake in. And then, unfortunately, going on an adventure with people that he shouldn't be going on an adventure with, and where that leads down. I thought it was an absolutely grand adventure, or a grand story, I think, to tell. And I think, again, that's another reminder out of every single one of these episodes that, yeah, there's a lot of people that need to see this show just to revolve and remind, you know, what is necessary here when you're talking about parenting, let alone the imagination of kids, but just parenting at all. All right. Obviously, we will wrap here with episode 1 and 8. These two tether together very well.
I just want to say, like,
what do you got?
You're talking about, like, sibling relationships earlier.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably subject for the show, but, like, I guess on subject because it's the same writers. My favorite thing with, like Craig of the Creek is Craig's relationship with his older brother, because, like, they are kind of distant and throughout the show, and like you can tell, like there's usually little hints of like
they hate Bernard.
Huh?
Bernard. Hate Bernard.
Yeah, his name's Bernard.
Yeah, Craig's older brother.
Yeah, you can tell there's hints that they were closer together, like at some point.
Right.
You watch more of the show than I have, though, Austin.
I actually haven't finished it because the reason I haven't finished Craig of the Creek is that I don't like goodbyes.
Wait, who was the writer? who was the writer of episode 5 that was on? It just reminds you of Craig of the Creek, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't saying no one worked on. You were just saying that it reminded you of it.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Okay, cool. I was like, holy shit! I just wanted to make sure. I was like, holy shit.
Well, Austin's wanting to inform me, like people from Craig of the Creek working on this show.
Well, it was just that he was on one episode of Michael Yates. He was on one episode of Craig of the Creek there as a writer and storyboard artist. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of tangentially related.
Tangentially, no, absolutely. But you're right. Like that tether, it reminds me, and I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot about this episode. What I was gonna say, like you're right. Like in the way that we see with Lilo and Stitch, you see that Nani at some points, the original Lilo and Stitch, not dog shit Lilo and Stitch, the original, you see. You see that there was a bigger bond there before she had to take on this responsibility of guardianship, and that in doing so, it shifted how she could approach Lilo in general and at all, and that so much of her character, so much of Lilo's character is from Nani. We see that subtly here and there throughout the movie, and one of the things that I completely almost forgot to bring up was I am very shocked when you see this episode how well they interpret Ira and just these characters in general. It's so at odds with Elio, where this is a character that we don't really get an internalized viewpoint significantly at all, and it just proceeds as is. And again, you talk like it's a very strange difference where you get so much definition from one than the other, and this is such a stark contrast. Like just this episode alone, you have a kid that's imagining something space related, and you never really get the imagination of Elio at all. You never see that. You just see him as he is journeying, what he is saying, and that's really weird. From this, not from the same team, but just from the same studio.
I gotta disagree with the Leo and Stitch one because it's very unrealistic. If I was in 90s shoes, I would give her up to the feds.
No, I was gonna say that like this further concludes my point that if you want a better, well-written occult story, go watch Don to Don.
Let's move on to episode, again, 1 and 8, Coach's Kid. This follows Lori, who's voiced by Lauren Foss. Again, like, this character is the daughter of the coach. And she really, really just wants to genuinely be as best as she can, the best on the team. She wants to have, at least just, if not the best, she wants value into the team. And it pulls me back to my time at youth lacrosse. Like, I myself, I wasn't into it as much as other teammates. Like, and one of the things that, when I was thinking about redoing this recording, Austin, like, I really spent a lot of time trying to think back into how I could analyze this episode and these characters. But, like, I remember, oh shit, like in elementary school and even younger, you construct this hierarchy in your brain of those on the team or in your class that just have certain intangibles, and you maybe want to find those intangibles within yourself, but you're just different. And like my dad would always tell the story because he was a coach on the youth lacrosse team that I was on for a year, and it was like he said, like, I told one of the coaches at one point, like, I think it was during practice, like, we were practicing, and I was, like, not even focused on practice. I was like, hey, that cloud over there, that's a certain type of cloud. Like, I literally was so focused on the definition of the analytical structure of meteorology at that time that I could give a fuck about sports. And...
Dude, let me tell you a prime example, because, like, to show you how much my inner nerd was still coming out that one year where I abandoned y'all to play football.
Yeah.
Like... There was a day when we were doing drilling, like, we were, like, in the computer class.
What just happened?
Hello? Fuck, pause.
Ready?
Oh, yeah, 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Yeah, so, like, let me tell you a story about how, like, I can wholeheartedly relate to that, like, being indifferent on a sports team, because there was that one year where, like, I abandoned y'all to play football. And, like, prime example was when I was a kid, like, was when we would do, like, drill tapes, like,
God damn it.
Back in class. I was working on I was adding characters to my goddamn Mugen engine.
Austin, we gotta stop you again.
I don't know what just happened twice in a row. Holy shit. It's like literally this story is being lockboxed. It's like every time you nearly finish the story, like every time you get through the story, you go blank. And then when you're literally done with the story, it's good again. I don't know what's up with the story.
Alright, but one more time from the top.
Mark's checking, looking technically, just verifying everything technically.
It might be my connection, just maybe.
Okay, well, let's try it one more time. So, you were saying that looking at football and when you were on the football team. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like when I was on the football team and just like that whole concept of being indifferent to the actual sport that you're playing.
Yeah.
When we would watch tapes of the rival team in the computer class, I used that time to add characters to my Mugen engine.
Just not even there. Just like, yeah, like cool, but I'm not. Yeah, like this is not where I'm at. I feel you.
Like I'm just here to do the exercise and go home. Like
right. But it's like, and that's agreed. Like yeah, like and that's one of the things where it's like, Lori clearly, and we see that by the way at the very end of the series. Like that's why episode 1 and 8 I wanted to tether together because by the end of episode 8, she's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm good. Because that's just not like I'm not into this. What I do love though is she does get a moment. Like I remember, like I had one moment and youth lacrosse, I had one moment where I was like, to me, I mean, like, probably if, like, you asked my dad, he'd probably say, there were 5 or 10 moments. Like, I remember the one moment that's, like, it's not photographed, it's not recorded, none of it, but it's saved in my brain, and that was the one moment. And she had the one moment that will forever stand the test of time for what her time there was, and that's amazing. You get usually one of those, even if you don't have necessarily the best experience in those sort of team environments. But yeah, it's like, but you get, the point being is, in this episode, this insecurity around everyone else being better, everyone else being performing at a better stage, or, you know, having some sort of intangible that they learned or they adapted it from coaching and it applied to their play style quicker, and you're trying to do your best.
Lori's moment, like Lori's actual moment, was that when she finally, like when the coach threw a tantrum, she was the one that coached the team.
Right. Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like first off, she was the one that got her father back down to earth, but she was also the one that, like, when coach had to step out of the game, she took control.
Yep.
And it makes a lot of sense considering that she is the coach's dad. And, like, that the fact that the kids were already trying to, like, say that nepotism was the reason that she was still on the team. But it wasn't like Lori was getting any special treatment. It wasn't like he was, like, making her first pitcher or, like, first catcher or first to bat every game. He just accepted that her daughter was on the team, and that was fine. There was no, like, malice or, like, deep favoritism towards it. It was just the fact that she was on the team.
Agreed. Absolutely. And yeah, like, I thought...
It took me a while to realize, like, you misspoke on one sentence because you said she is the coach's dad.
She is the coach's dad.
Yeah. Oh!
I mean,
she's not...
Oh, shit.
Today on Win or Lose,
I was trying to think. I was trying to wait. What?
It's
is this the next shapeshifter?
Yeah, there's the shape. That's the real shapeshifter right there. But no, I thought the idea of, like, focusing on how pressure and anxiety and expectation of yourself, again, just the internalized perspective, this internal perception, intrapersonal, can balloon into something that literally cripples you. This is, again, nothing new for Pixar. We talked about this in the last recording, Austin. Like, you know, we've seen this in Turning Red and Inside Out 2 and Elemental. Like, this pressure and expectation.
Visual representations of mental stress.
Right. You know, like, yeah, she just wants to prove she wants to prove to herself, she wants to prove for her teammates, her father, you know, like, and again, like, she notices little things, like, things that would be considered so invaluable to people that are not in your own head. Like, and that's very often what happens, is the little things that you perceive that other people may not perceive, they're much bigger, especially if you're in a place where you're comparing and contrasting. Like, you have the chemistry and trust that her dad had with other players, or, like, she noticed that way more. Like, the achievement stars that littered everyone else's helmet but hers. Like, she noticed that. There's
absolutely no favoritism on her dad's end because she just wants the same treatment that the other kids get.
Right. And then you have the care that her dad showed Kai quickly after, you know, training turned into an injury. Like, it's like, it went in her dad's point of view, when we see episode 8, like, her dad's point of view, he just turns and just kind of, you know, like, all right, are you okay, Kai? But, like, in Lori's perception, it's like, it is God tier level, like, level 5, like, category 5. Oh shit, I fucked up.
Like, Lori just injured her golden boy, like her golden girl.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, geez. But yeah, like, obviously that all perceives into this grayish blob, and I thought this was a great place to start the series.
Pause. All
right,
real quick.
Yeah, but it amasses into this grayish blob that you can't shake. Which, like, look, is it funny? It's got some great lines. It's hilarious, but I just could not shake the unfortunate truth of how genuinely noisy and constant negative intrapersonal thoughts can be. Like, how really, like, serious this shit is in reality, because like that shit's not cool. It's not like it's a funny presentation, but I barely was laughing because I can relate to that. I can relate to that blob.
Like it was a funny representation because my favorite phrasing, which actually tracks, is this is good because the stakes are high and those are the kind we like. And the other one is when you hit your your coach's star player, you want to unpack that trauma? Let's unpack that right now. Because that is what happens in the middle of the night. Your brain doesn't, you don't get to decide when you unpack your trauma. Your brain is just going to randomly let you replay every embarrassing moment that you have ever committed in your fucking life. And you're just going to have to sit there and deal with it.
Yes. Yeah. And again, it's this all crescendos at the championship, of course. And, you have the weight of internally thinking, this weight of internally thinking, I'm going to screw this up, it cannot be undervalued. But, and, it gets to her turn at the championship, everything's falling apart. But we don't see that. We see her perception. That's the thing, is at the championship, things are going left and right, but it's just her in that moment. And, I think it's a beautiful and honest moment when her dad slows the game down for her, right? And obviously we get the other side of that in 8, but he attempts to refocus Lori on just experiencing the moment over the stress of expectation. Some of the best things or best moments that I have in general are if I have a thought and it might be kind of pertinent and I just talk to someone about it, sometimes it'll just kind of fizzle itself out, like that negative thought. Sometimes it's there, but often what I find is, no, that angle or perception that you have that's in your head is just wrong. It's just so absolutely wrong. And if you just let someone else kind of re-perceive it a little bit and you just tilt that angle a little bit around, you're in the complete wrong. No, it's fine. Or if it's not fine, we can work on this. It's okay. And that's what I love about that moment where it's she turns into the blob. It's in those moments where it's that heavy, it's and wanting to be the hard difficulty of admitting in those moments how heavy those things are, or that moment is, or that situation is. It's hard to want to reveal that, and then she gets that. She actually does reveal it, and he attempts to readjust her. In the beginning, he's doing it wrong. It's is it nepotism? Is it? And then he finally gets it. It's and does it, and it adjusts how she, how she perceives it. I thought, fucking amazing.
It's parents aren't always going to get it right, but it's the appreciation of the fact that you're trying.
You're right. Absolutely. And it's the fact that, again, it's you get close enough. And that's what I think was amazing. Mm-hmm. He got close enough there. Because there's a lot of times where you're going to get just close enough and maybe it doesn't even work, or it makes it maybe a little bit worse. But he tried his best there. And a point, by the way, for him that we learn is the crescendo and end of something that he really loves. But he takes all that away and just focuses on father-daughter moment. And I thought, fucking fantastic. Yeah. And it loosens her up.
Get into episode 8.
Yeah.
And which was a really good choice of making this one the finale, seeing how everything always loops back to the coach. How all of these problems
Sorry, Martin, please stop cutting the camera over. You can keep it on 3, because it keeps sitting on me and Austin's talking too. Please, just keep it on 3. Keep it on $3.
I thought you were into the camera switching because, I was I'm gonna look at my phone real quick. But I want to show them.
You were a guest. I'm gonna switch the camera. You were a guest. Just look at your phone. You're good. Austin, I'm sorry. Episode 8, file episode. Home. Yeah. You said you liked that this was the end episode because of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because in a lot of these mediums, even in A League of Their Own, and especially in a little bit into Big Wind-Up, we don't focus as much on the coach as we focus on the players. the whole thing of is that the coach eventually dips out, and Carson has to become coach.
Yes.
But yeah, like it's like the fact that like we get to see like how much the coach is actually dealing with. He's not only dealing with the fact that kids are bullying his daughter. He's dealing with the fact that like his daughter, like his other daughter, just wrecked dented his car. He's dealing with the fact that the other team thinks that the PTA wants to replace him as coach because they're not winning. And the thing that pisses me off about that scene as a whole is, like, we talked about that in the first recording, was if it was me, because there is 100% a guy there that comes to watch the games that doesn't even fucking have kids. There's like, if I were that guy, I would have been like, no, fuck that. You are the coach that these kids need. Stop focusing on being the coach that these parents want. It's not about them. It's not about the parents. It's about the kids at the end of the day. And these kids need you.
Yeah.
There's a reason that these kids like Kai felt comfortable enough to come to this team as herself. And that's because you made her feel welcome.
Right. Yeah, I thought just going off the PTA aspect, like, I understood, like, we learn pretty early in episode 7 that Kai's dad is gonna be coach, or not early on, but like once she's comfortable, literally once she's comfortable with this team and everything, we learn that he's gonna be coach. So I don't know when this whole backlog started, but clearly he was trying to get into this, and there's some, all that there.
You want to know where the backlog happened? And like, there's a good reason as to why this happened.
Really?
It happened behind his back.
Well, of course. Well, yeah, of course. Right.
Yeah, that was the point. It happened all behind his back. They kind of he was kind of like sneaking his way into the underground. Kind of like slid into the fact that he used to coach, he used to be a college baseball player, and he used that to his advantage. And then because it was really snarky the way that Kai's dad pulled that, because coughing about this guy here, he was a college football, second division, really trying to flex about it, and not really understanding how much pressure, to have you as a coach puts onto Kai. It's bad enough that you're a possessive sports parent, but now you're a possessive coach sports parent.
Absolutely.
You really want to see where the nepotism kicks in? Join this, become coach.
That's what exactly. Then we're gonna see. That's why even if I wanted a season 2, it needs to stay sad. It needs to stay in this season again, this baseball season. I don't care.
Well,
I don't want to see the future shitty Pickles team led by Kai's dad that doesn't have as much chemistry and falls up, and new team members come in and the other team members leave because the whole format's changed. And it's all PTA approved. I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck about this moment in time that they're in. That's where it shines, and it's all led by a coach that understands that here's a moment. He's made this place so comfortable, such a safe space, that once all the players are in, we see that when he manages the grass, he manages the soil, he manages the lining of the bases and everything. And then once it's all there, and he gets there early, by the way, and when obviously Rochelle's setting up and everything, but once everyone's in that actual ballpark, they're comfortable and they're happy to be there. It's not, and that's how he perceives it. But it's likely how they are perceiving it too.
The field represents quite literally a force field.
Right. Literally.
If tensions rise, this force field is starting to break.
Right. Yeah, and I thought, man, you couldn't have. That's why, again, it's about the person, and it's crazy that they even thought, the perception that not to spend too much time on the PTA, but it's insane because we see that in 2 as well. Where was it? It's not the PTA. It's the PTA. Yeah, it's the PTA again, right? Where. In blue, we see the PTA again, right? With no, it's Vanessa that sees the PTA and has to deal with them, and which is crazy too. But
the fact that they are offended in the idea that a parent trusts their children,
wild. Absolutely wild. But what I like is, again, these are actual. I hate them. I still, compared to everyone else, I think I hate them the most as being real because they fuck up so much. They fuck up schools. They fuck up businesses. They fuck up communities. Once a bunch of adults encircle into a group and it becomes a large enough mass, holy shit, that shit goes left. Like, it gets really fucking messy. You know, gets really territorial. Gets really bitchy. But you know, the idea that they made it to the state championship. Or whatever the state championship, whatever championship, they made it to the championship and they still want to take this guy out. Fucking wild. Like, you know, this guy did a great job. And, you know, it's over all the stress of, you know, he's going through a divorce. Or he's he's done with the divorce and now he's still dealing with the ramifications of it. He's living in a motel and his car barely works, but it's still working for him. And he's holding everything in pressure. And it's shown through this inflated, like the fact that he gets inflated and balloons a bit when it's all becoming too much for him. And it's that I think is such a good presentation because there's so many things that, you know, that even from just an adult angle, you are told to compress like that and just, all right, keep it going. And he's doing his best, but it's all layered and constantly pressing on him.
A problem I don't get is like, why is like hiring like coaches like so expensive? Austin, can you look up coach inflation?
What? Coach inflation?
Okay.
That's a joke.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, Austin gets it. There we go.
I think he was giving you a pity laugh. I was trying to.
You don't inflation porn. That's a joke. That's a joke. Why is this so expensive? Look up something in inflation.
Sorry, Mark. It's too expensive to laugh now. I'm sorry. There's my joke. It wasn't that dog shit. Look at that. Back to back. You and me. Dog shit joke. Yeah.
No, I actually made a. I'm just repeating a meme. You just made a bad joke. That wasn't my joke. I was just repeating it.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought everything that he has to deal with, and the fact that again the amount of stress he feels for look. We're all imperfect. But, I mean, leaving Lori there was wild. I think that's the only, like, Jesus Christ, bud, you're really going through it. I mean, you left Lori at the ball field. That is I know you can't be perfect, but Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, just, what did you
The fact that, like, he left her at the ball field and took, like, didn't even, like, decide, like, even if you weren't going to, like, game today, like, because something happened with Kai, like, the fact that you took Kai and left her behind.
Wild. What, like, impossible. How is that? That's wild. But we all have our mistakes, you know, and then you turn around and
that's a big fucking mistake.
That's like next level. That's not the biggest mistake because I still think that the parents of Ira and you know, like that whole thing is. One of them has to balance that. I think that's the biggest mistake. Is like again, but leaving your kid that, and then also like, what is it? The next day or whatever. He wasn't there when she was like, yeah, can I just show up for the weekend? Like I think that's also fucked up, unfortunately. But he just kind of, I think he was either asleep at the car or something happened. It was like that whole thing was like, damn, that sucks.
Staying in like a shitty motel, like
yeah, but. I think he perceives it as...
That's probably why he... Like, it seemed shitty that he was holding it off, but that's probably why. You know?
Yeah.
He's clearly, like, not fully developed after this divorce, so he's gonna try to prolong it, at the very least, until he gets his shit together.
Right. And that's understandable.
And it's a lot harder to get your shit together when all of these other things are stressing you out.
1,000%. Yeah. You know, and then everything goes left at the championship. You know, and everyone. I mean, the fact that again, it's like, dude, Kai's dad stepping out on the field. That is some next level shit. Like I said that I hate him, but I understand. Fuck you for that one. That one, when that happened, I was like, holy shit, bud. Oh my god.
He stepped onto the field.
Yeah, the PTA gets on the field and all that. It's like, Jesus. Because he starts the thing. Like, he starts the thing. Kai's dad starts the thing, and it all snowballs into everyone kind of getting on the field and all of it going left. Like, it's like, come on. Like, that's when you know. That's why, again, you know the next season doesn't matter because that's going to be... win or lose, it does matter at that point. Like, it all falls apart at that point. Like, you know. So.
Like, the beauty of that scene is that, like, Kai actually, like, Kai finally got that opportunity to sit down and talk to her dad about it. You know, that was the moment that we did get to see. So, and it's not that Kai is replacing him as coach. That Kai's dad is replacing him as coach. It's that Kai's dad is going to be co-coaching. And I feel like that's still going to be.
They said co-coach. I thought he said he was co-coaching, but then that by the time we learned,
yeah, because I got it. He said, like, I just got done with talking with the PTA, and they have agreed that I'm going to be helping with coaching next year.
But isn't that before they say they want to let you go? Like, because he looks like. I mean, we see that he looks every time he looks at actual coach. You know, Lori's dad. After he leaves, every time he has this look on his face like, oh no, I don't like. It's not a hey, we're cool. It's a kind of glum, like he doesn't know what's actually happening. Look, I think he's actually the coach next season, and that's what's happened. Like he knows co-coaching. It's like in business. It's like, yeah, we're gonna be but everyone PTA is saying we're moving on from you. Like he is coach. I think he's a coach. It's not co-coach. He is coach. And the whole co-coach thing was just to soften the blow, you know, for Kai at first, and not actually what's really happening, which is he is becoming coach. You know, it's like that's what I think is going on.
Because like the other scene that you take into consideration is the fact that, like, in that one scene where everybody is like kind of like getting together right before the championship, you see that like he's kind of like trying to show.
He's trying to show him some like setups.
Playbook.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that like he already trusts Kai enough. Kai has the experience and the skill. So like I think that it's that when they had that conversation that even if he does like even if he is the only coach next year, he's going to have the ability to approach it with some sort of nuance because he understands that like over time this was stressing his daughter out. You know,
that is if he doesn't return to a shell of what he formerly was, which I hope not.
Again, I trust Pixar enough to not Flanderize characters. They are really good at refusing to Flanderize people.
Well, I don't think that, again, if we're doing a season 2, it's like, I don't think that we're going to be doing I think where you sit still in this time point and you flesh out a few more characters in this time. I don't know, but maybe everything's resolved here, though. I understand.
I think since it works already as an anthology, I think they're just gonna I think they would just like focus on a new set of characters and a new team.
Fair. I just think win or lose, like it's. I don't know where it would go. That's the one thing that's tough. Before we get to really talking about what's
I can give you like a realistic perspective. This is probably one and done.
No, thank you, Mr. Optimist. Yeah, of course, but. Especially since, again, Disney's leaning away from original animation content. Pixar's leaning away, original on Disney Plus. And Pixar's leaning away from doing that as well.
I mean, it wouldn't be original if they come back for a season 2.
Potato. But I think one thing I've got to shout out is, of course, what we have here on the screen right now, which is the photo that they did. They have this moment at the pizza party. We don't learn what happens in the end, win or lose. Again, it's there. Like Mark said, it's win or lose. But what we see when they take the photo and they give it to the Oracle kid, the like Austin predicted.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. Is like ultimately, it ties back to what the remember, like the first discussion that we had that caused us to do this podcast. Like me after I watched it like in its entirety for the first time, and like the big like debacle that me and you had was over the relationship between Blue and Vanessa, and like how you were very skeptical about it, but then it like the point that made you like change your like worldview about it is what OJ said, and it was the idea that like, well, winning or losing is a matter of how you look at it, and how like we don't know how things will turn out, and I think like that's also the beauty of like how we will never get a season 2, is we don't know how the team will actually turn up after this, but we can hope for good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's why wherever it goes, I don't need us. That's why at its core, I don't need a season 2. Everyone online, it's like, get a season 2, get a season 2. I don't think this needs a season 2, except for obviously we talked about the two. It's like 2 characters in this series right now need really. I would love to see more build up, just because it would help.
Nah, I need like 4 more seasons, 24 episodes each. I want a movie in between. I want some 1-hour specials. I want holiday specials. I want spin-offs.
I think you've confused.
I want video game tie-ins.
I think you've
that are canon.
Jeez. I think you've confused this with the Bluey production pipeline and Rick and Morty's like 2020 production timeline, 96 episodes guaranteed. I think they said.
And Rick and Morty still puts out good shit. The only shit they've been putting out was that anime. I don't know what the hell happened with that.
I'm not getting into it.
The anime that bad?
Huh?
Was the anime that bad?
I've watched the first 2. Like, my thing about it is like, Rick and Morty is funny. I love it. It's about humor. The anime really takes itself really seriously, and it's like, it's not that like the jokes don't fall. It feels like it refuses to have jokes. Like it was just like, no, we're just like, cause the way Rick and Morty speaks in themselves is a joke, but it's like, I'm going to get through the whole thing out of curiosity, but like. It's
kind of like when M. Night Shyamalan made Sokka, the comedic relief character, super duper serious.
Yeah. It's like Rick and Morty by M. Night Shyamalan. It's just like it's weird. I'm
sorry. Sokka.
Yeah, Sokka. There you go. And Ong and Sokka, and Ong and Sokka. Yeah. And white people, just white people, and then you make the Fire Nation Middle Eastern. I mean, A+.
It's just about surreal. It's just like surrealness in this
I think
weird
making the Fire Nation Middle Eastern was just a play on them wanting to be the badasses. Because M. Night Shyamalan himself is Indian.
I mean, that's sure. It just doesn't paint that well, personally, especially given the time period of 2000, of very late 2000s energy around the American image. Of like, all right,
like M. Night Shyamalan was I can almost guarantee that he was playing pick your favorite race equals pick your favorite bending type.
I hope so. It's it just aligned into the Americanized view of Middle Eastern people being antagonists.
I mean, to prolong
was all over
on Rick and Morty.
2000s.
I mean, to prolong this on Rick and Morty, but like the thing that does throw me off on the anime is just like what's going on in like the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
Does feel like it will be something that would happen in Rick and Morty, but like it feels like usually when it happens in Rick and Morty, I'm waiting for the reveal of like it's like not so serious or it's like or some kind of joke, and like me watching the anime, like you're just not getting that reveal at all, that it's like some kind of joke in some way, and it just like
and wild.
It's like you're waiting for nothing.
What a choice.